Welcome to the Fantasy Audiobook. City. Start Awakening Time and Space Dual Spirits. Chapter 1. Taijing, the second high school affiliated to Taikyo University. High school sophomore class. I will definitely be able to awaken my martial soul. Definitely. The handsome Fang in the crowd secretly clenched his fists. He is not from this world. 18 years ago, he traveled to this world where martial spirits were revived and spirit beasts were everywhere. No system, no gold finger. If it wasn't for the strength of his parents, Fang wouldn't even be able to get into the second affiliated middle school of Imperial College in the past 18 years. But Fang's parents died when he was 12 years old. For the past 6 years, Fang has been alone. Ordinary people in this world can participate in the martial soul awakening ceremony at the age of 18. If you can awaken your martial spirit, you will be qualified to take the college entrance examination. Otherwise, he can only become the lowest existence to work for those noble soul masters. I'm so nervous. If I can't wake up, I'll have to enter the factory after graduation. HMPH, I will definitely wake up anyway, and it will be just around the corner to become a super powerhouse. You're the only one who is super strong. Xiao Yan, I'm afraid you've lost your mind. Tang 3, lousy offended you. Tell you, 30 years in Hedong, 30 years in Hexi, don't bully young people into poverty. Hey Tui, those who can participate in this awakening are from ordinary families. Those rich have already woken up early at the age of 16, spending 10 million. The advantage of awakening early is naturally 2 more years of cultivation time than others. Therefore, for everyone, they have a chance to catch up only when they wake up, who started late. Otherwise, there is no chance. Cough cough. While everyone was chatting, a young man in a white martial arts uniform entered the class. The youth wears a mask that covers the upper half of his face, giving a sense of mystery. But the moment he came in, the originally noisy scene immediately quieted down. A faint coercion filled the audience. Zhang Peng, the head teacher of the second class, nodded politely to the young man first. Immediately, he said, "Classmates, this is Li Fengxian, a sophomore at Taikyo University. He is responsible for awakening you today." After Zhang Peng finished speaking, everyone was shocked. Is that super genius Li Fengxian? Hey, I heard that he is now a 4-star gold soul master. I remember that his spirit is one of the 10 major weapons, the demon sealing sword. It's really enviable. Feng also knew this person. No way, this guy is very famous. Li Fengxian was a super genius of the number 1 high school affiliated to Imperial University, and he was promoted to Imperial University with absolute strength. And Emperor Jing University is one of the top 3 soul master schools in the country. Although Li Fengxian is only a sophomore, he is already a 4-star gold star. You must know that many soul masters can't get gold even if they work hard all their lives. And Li Fengxian achieved such an achievement at the age of 19. Geniuses are proud. Li Fengxian is no exception. He looked around the audience and said lightly, everyone came forward and awakened in the order of their student numbers. Come on, classmates, and strive for an innate soul power. Zhang Peng laughed. As an affiliated middle school of Taikyo University, the second middle school is second only to the first middle school in strength. The top high schools in the country. Those who can enter the second middle school, the natural talent is not bad. Although the better off group has already awakened at the age of 16. But according to the situation in previous years, there is no lack of talent among these ordinary students. Number 1, Lu Bin. After Zhang Peng finished speaking, Lu Bin walked to Li Fengxian. Li Fengxian didn't speak, and his soul power burst out. Immediately, under the influence of soul power, a faint white light radiated from Lu Bin's body. There is an illusory battle axe in the palm of the open palm. Li Fengxian said, Lu Bin, weapon spirit, battle axe, spirit power 4. Tang 3, plant martial spirit, diamond grass, spirit power 7. Chen Chong, not awakened. Pang Guang, animal spirit, wolf dog, spirit power 3. As time passed, there were fewer and fewer people in front, and only Xiao Yan and Feng remained. Call. Feng took a deep breath to calm down the nervousness. Brother Feng, it's okay if we are nervous, you don't have to be nervous at all. Xiao Yan, who has a good relationship, said. Yi Feng's parents are gold-level powerhouses. If it wasn't for the fact that his parents had died in battle, Yi Feng would have woken up early at the age of 16. Although the family can't afford an expensive awakening stone, after all, both parents have good talents, and they still have confidence. Yi Feng smiled and didn't speak. It's hard to say about talent. Last year, there was an example of the daughter of a diamond-level soul master who had not awakened her martial soul. What's more, he crossed over. No, 24 Xiao Yan. After hearing the name, Xiao Yan smiled and said, Brother Feng, I'll go up first. Yi Feng, come on. After a moment, Li Fengxian looked at Xiao Yan calmly and said, Xiao Yan, elemental spirit, Qinglian Lengo. Soul power 8. When this statement came out, everyone exclaimed in surprise. And Xiao Yan was ecstatic. Innate soul power 8 is very good. What is even more commendable is that Qinglian Lengo is the top 30 existence in the element category. This kind of talent, even in the second middle school, not even among the high school students in the country, is the top. Not bad. The happiest person is Zhang Peng. Unexpectedly, there are such geniuses among these ordinary children. Finally it was Yi Feng's turn. After walking in front of Li Fengxian mobilized his soul power as usual. Under the traction of soul power, Li Fengxian sensed Yi Feng's consciousness. Immediately, Gujing Wubo's expression changed instantly. This is impossible. Asterisk. Before Li Fengxian finished speaking, golden light bloomed from Yi Feng's body. Boom! The dazzling golden light turned into a long knife and pierced through the roof instantly. Immediately afterwards, the entire second affiliated high school of the Imperial College saw a golden long knife about 100 meters long. Call out. The long knife shoots into the void like a teleportation. It was clearly still 100 meters above the sky at this moment. But in the blink of an eye, it has reached the end of the sky and disappeared into the infinite universe. In the classroom of Class 2, the tables and chairs were swayed by the powerful shock wave. The hairs of the nearest students were blown. This. Including the head teacher Zhang Peng, everyone was dumbfounded. It's not that they haven't seen others awaken. But how can there be such a terrifying aura? At this moment, the space above Yi Feng's palm squirmed rapidly. Immediately, a slender sword with a long slap appeared. The shape of the battle knife is simple and slender, and the hole is similar to the Tang knife. Unlike ordinary knives, this knife is formed by space warping. It's hard to tell if you don't look closely. At the moment when the sword appeared, the surrounding space began to squirm. The space ripples spread out, and even the figure with Yi Feng became illusory and hazy. At the same time, an extremely fierce momentum wave spread throughout the audience. Except for Li Fengxian and Zhang Peng, all the students' faces changed slightly. At this moment, they actually have a deep crisis of life and death. It was like being locked by the sharpest blade in the world. At this moment, a breeze appeared in front of everyone. Then a middle-aged man with a little shock walked out of the breeze. The principal of the second affiliated high school of Taikyo University, the wind is full of bows. Feng Mangong stared at the knife in Yi Feng's hand and Li Fengxian said at the same time, the sword of nothingness. Li Fengxian looked at Yi Feng with a complicated expression, which was rarely sour. The sword of nothingness controls the power of space. Ranked number 1 in the weapon soul list. Ranked 2nd in the martial arts list. This is a peerless martial spirit that has disappeared for 300 years. It is the strongest weapon spirit in history, no one. Zhang Peng was also shocked. This martial spirit is too bright. Bright enough to be tolerated by heaven and earth. It hasn't been seen since its stunning appearance 300 years ago. A weapon spirit that can control space, its power is enough to make all spirit masters tremble. Void God Sword, is that the second super martial soul on the martial arts list? Hey, doesn't it mean that it has disappeared? I heard from my grandfather that back then, the owner of the Void God Sword was as easy as drinking water to kill an opponent by leaps and bounds. All the students were stunned. Xiao Yan murmured, what a strong aura, Brother Feng is probably innately full of soul power, right? The one who can awaken the sword of nothingness is naturally full of innate soul power. It's just that the innate full of soul power is insignificant compared to the number 1 on the weapon and martial arts list. Ha ha ha, good, very good. Feng Mangong suddenly laughed loudly. As the second existence on the martial arts list, the first one is not the first. The Void God Sword is the strongest martial arts in the world. As for the first one, it has disappeared for nearly 1,000 years. It has long since disappeared, and it is impossible to appear at all. In other words, as long as Yi Feng is given time, he will have great achievements in the future. And Li Fengxian, who is also the owner of the soul of the artifact, looked at the sword of nothingness with green eyes. There is no soul master who does not have a weapon soul who does not yearn for the Void God Sword. Li Fengxian would only be more rude if he didn't think of himself as a genius. Yi Feng was also stunned. Not only because he had awakened the soul of the strongest tool in history, but also because of the sound of the system in his mind. Ding, the condition is triggered. Congratulations to the host for opening the strongest martial soul system. The sudden prompt sound made Yi Feng even more surprised. After 18 years, his system is finally here. Just when Yi Feng was about to put away the sword of nothingness, the second beep sounded. Ding, the novice gift package is being distributed. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a special martial spirit, the Clock of Time. Yi Feng's body trembled, and his pupils shrank. The Clock of Time, he has heard it. Because this is the number 1 existence on the martial arts list. It is the strongest martial spirit since ancient times, and even the most powerful existence that is not as good as the Sword of Nothingness. At the moment when the gift package was distributed, Yi Feng discovered that there was a big bell in the sea of knowledge. The big bell connects ancient and modern, with a long and vast atmosphere of vicissitudes. Just looking at it is terrifying. There are mysterious and obscure lines on the quaint big bell. As the runes run, day and night alternate magically in an instant. It was at this moment that Li Fengxian, who had been maintaining a soul connection with Yi Feng, was suddenly stunned. What? Feng Mangong was also stunned. Just as he was about to speak, a loud bell rang suddenly. Clang! The mighty bell resounded like spring thunder in everyone's mind. The sound is so pure. It's so heartwarming again. Just hearing it, I felt an indescribable grandeur and hugeness. It feels so small. Immediately afterwards, a golden bell phantom emerged from Yi Feng's body. The big bell is densely covered with runes, and if you look at it, you will feel dizzy and dizzy. Feng Mangong's face changed completely. His mouth was wide open, and his eyes were full of horror. Li Fengxian's expression changed at the same time. Listening to the grand bell ringing in his mind, he actually felt ashamed of himself. This is a kind of helplessness that has never been experienced even in the face of a master. When the phantom of the God of Light continued to expand and enveloped everyone, an even more shocking scene appeared. Buzz! The hands on the time clock began to turn rapidly. The powerful, esoteric, and nihilistic power of time begins to affect everyone. Even the diamond-level Fengman bow is no exception. When the pointer rotates counterclockwise, Feng Mangong's expression is full of memories. He saw the legend of his half-life military service from those constantly jumping pictures. I saw a girl who couldn't fall in love when she first started dating. I saw the scene of hunting soul beasts in order to break through silver. Except for Feng Mangong, everyone saw scenes from their past. Some people burst into tears as they miss their deceased relatives. Some people have a smile on the corner of their mouth because of their beautiful childhood. Some people were moved by the sight of their dad crying with joy when he was born. Clang! Along with the jumping of the picture, there is a long, thick and clear bell ringing in everyone's mind. One by one, impressive or memorable pictures appeared. Everyone felt that a long time had passed. But in fact, only a few seconds. Yi Feng's eyes widened, and everyone else could only see something they had experienced. But under the influence of the time clock, Yi Feng can see everyone. Not to mention the rest, but Bai Moore in the class impressed him deeply. Because what Bai Moore saw was a picture of herself taking a bath. That beautiful-looking female classmate lives up to her name. After the light god Zhang Ziying submerged into Yi Feng's body, everyone recovered at the same time. Xiao Yan and other students looked at Yi Feng with awe. The power of time is the most mysterious and powerful force. And it is now under Yi Feng's control. Feng Mangong is a bright brilliance in his eyes. Even breathing became rapid. Found a treasure. He found a treasure. Innately full of soul power, born with dual martial spirits. Moreover, it is also the super martial arts ranked first and second on the martial arts list. Li Fengxian looked at Yi Feng with deep envy and shock in his eyes. It is a blessing to be able to witness the appearance of the first martial soul time clock. It would be a misfortune to witness the emergence of the second martial soul void god sword with my own eyes. Because the first tool soul is destined to cover the edge of all tool soul owners. Possibly including myself. Yi Feng right. Feng Mangong looked at Yi Feng with a strange look in his eyes. He tried to keep his voice as calm as possible. Come with me. No matter what other students think, he waved his hand. Yi Feng only felt a flash of light, and then he appeared in a simple office. Li Fengxian licked his lips excitedly. Yi Feng, hee, this year's Taikyo University is very lively. In Li Fengxian's opinion, Yi Feng will definitely be recruited into Taikyo University. At that time, this nationally renowned institution finally got a little interesting. Yi Feng, sit down. Feng Mangong said with a smile. Yi Feng was also welcome. After taking his seat, he asked, Principal, did you call me here? Cough, 2 things. First, I want you to join Taikyo University. Feng Mangong said with a hopeful expression. Yi Feng was not surprised. Whether it is innately full of soul power, or the sword of nothingness, or the divine clock of time that has not been seen in 1,000 years, he has enough qualifications to enter Taizheng University. And Feng Mangong himself is the principal of the second affiliated middle school. In other words, people from Taikyo University. As a student of the second affiliated middle school, Feng Mangong naturally did not want to choose the other 2 universities. However, Yi Feng did not give an answer immediately. He is now eligible to negotiate terms. Seeing that Yi Feng didn't speak, Feng Mangong understood. Hey, you guy. After complaining, Feng Mangong coughed lightly and solemnly said, Time divine clock is the strongest martial spirit, but because of its time attribute, it is very difficult to attach a spirit ring. Yi Feng nodded, of course he knew this. There are different types of soul beasts, but the time and space attributes are the rarest. Moreover, each of them is extremely powerful, belonging to the kind that is invincible at the same level and can even kill opponents by leaps and bounds. Such a soul beast is naturally not something he can deal with alone. In addition, these soul beasts are all in danger in the wild. Although Yi Feng is innately full of soul power, those soul beasts are often decades or even hundreds of years old. He's gone now, and it's no different from dying. And even if someone helped him, he might not be able to find it. People in this world will learn the theoretical knowledge related to martial arts. There are no time and space attribute soul beast textbooks. There is very little knowledge in this area on the internet, and it is almost impossible to find a qualified one. It seemed that he could see what Yi Feng was thinking. Feng Mangong said, there is a spirit ring with a time attribute in the treasure pavilion at Taizheng University. Yi Feng's eyes lit up as soon as these words came out. Real or fake? Haha, this was something the old principal came across by accident. Feng Mangong smiled and said, if you join Taizheng University, I can make the decision and give you that spirit ring. In addition, I will also help you find the space-type soul beast and obtain the soul ring for your void sword. Yi Feng had no reason to refuse this condition. What's more, Taikyo University is still one of the top 3 super universities. Feng Mangong said again. As for the other 2 spirit rings, I believe that when you enter Taizheng University, if the high-level school encounters you, they will help you. Seeing that Yi Feng didn't speak, Feng Mangong said quietly, Yi Feng, maybe other schools can offer more favorable conditions, but no one can find a time-related soul beast. Not to mention Yi Feng, even if Feng Mangong himself has never encountered a time-based soul beast for so many years. Yi Feng raised his head and said, Principal, I am willing to join Taizheng University. Feng Mangong froze for a moment, and was immediately overjoyed. He attracted Yi Feng to enter Taizheng University. On the one hand, he was in his own job. After all, he is from Taikyo University. But the most important thing is to cherish this rare talent. As a qualified principal, who doesn't have the heart of love for talents? Great. Feng Mangong suddenly stood up and said, Yi Feng, I'll take you to Taizheng University right now. At the same time, Taizheng, Divine Prison. The Divine Prison is a special department, established by the top powerhouse Dharma Venerable in the world. The Divine Prison is specially responsible for capturing and killing those powerful soul beasts to prevent them from harming the human race. In addition, if there is a strong person in the human race, or colluding with the soul beast to threaten the human race, the prison will also take action. As the top group of powerhouses in the world, Dharma Venerable has a high status, and ordinary people have only seen it on TV. At this time, it is in the highest building of God's prison. The Dharma Venerable with white hair, white beard and white robe suddenly opened his eyes. His eyes are like stars, and just a glance can make people daunted and unable to resist at all. Venerable Dharma opened his palm, and a palm-sized gray mountain appeared. There is no difference between lifelike and real peaks. If you look closely, you can even see the grass and trees on the mountain peaks, as well as the spirit beasts perched on the top of the mountain. Dharma Venerable glanced at it, then chuckled lightly after a while. After a moment, a middle-aged man in black and gold armor came over. The man bowed respectfully. Dharma Venerable, look for me. Dharma Venerable said leisurely, tomorrow afternoon, go to the second affiliated high school of Tejing University. The man was stunned for a moment and asked in doubt, are you trying to arrest someone? The responsibility of the prison is to catch soul beasts or humans. So the man subconsciously thought about it. Do not. Fa Zun looked at the direction of Tejing University and said, look for a third-year high school student named Yi Fang. Taikyo University. Although Yi Fang is from Dijing, this is the first time he has come to Dijing University. Nothing else, it's just that he lives too far from here. It takes 2.5 hours just by subway. This world is many times bigger than the Earth in the previous life. Exactly how many times, no one knows. Taikyo University is very prosperous. Although the summer vacation is approaching, there are no fewer students than usual. After all, it is a top-level university, and everyone will hurry up to practice even during the holidays. When Feng Mangong brought Yi Feng to the treasure pavilion. What's the matter? Asked a gray-haired old man with a strong breath. Feng Mangong bowed first. Immediately, he said, Elder Zhe, the student is full of bows. I have been ordered by Principal Wang to get the time spirit ring. The gray-haired old man's mouth was slightly open, obviously a little surprised. Immediately, he suddenly looked at Yi Feng. Could it be this little guy? Exactly. Feng Mangong smiled and said. On the way here, he had already talked to Wang Quan, president of Taikyo University, about the situation. As the world's first-class power, the royal power naturally agrees. At the same time, Feng Mangong was praised. You can bring him here, it means that he is already a student of Taikyo University. The gray-haired old man looked at Yi Feng with a softer gaze. Little guy, your choice can't be wrong. Immediately, the door to the treasure pavilion was opened. This treasure pavilion is the foundation of Taikyo University. It is impossible to open without special formulas and imprints. Colorful light blooms on the heavy alloy gate. A tyrannical force spread out instantly. Then the door opened. Thank you, Mr. Zhe. Feng Mangong bowed again and took Yi Feng into the treasure pavilion. Yi Feng couldn't help feeling a little excited. There is no time-based spirit ring, and he can get it as soon as he wakes up. This is also an opportunity. Thinking of this, Yi Feng asked, Principal, what kind of spirit beast is this spirit ring? Time Mysterious Turtle. Feng Mangong said, the Time Mysterious Turtle is a 400-year-old soul beast, and its soul skill is called Time Freeze. Time freezes. Yi Feng's expression was moved. He knew it literally, it should be to let time freeze. Yi Feng said, strong control. Yes, it is no exaggeration to say that it is the strongest control soul skill. As they were talking, the two came to the 4th floor of the treasure pavilion. Yi Feng saw a soul ring exuding a pale yellow light across the distance. After the soul beast dies, the spirit ring will only exist for a certain period of time. After this time, the spirit ring will automatically disappear. But if you come across some soul rings that are not suitable for you, but very high quality, you can use some special means to save them. However, as far as Yi Feng knows, this method of preservation is extremely expensive. And it consumes a lot of the soul master himself. Therefore, there are very few spirit rings that can be preserved. Feng Mangong looked at it for a while, and it was the first time he saw a time-based spirit ring. Yi Feng, just absorb it here. Feng Mangong said while taking out several tools. This kind of spirit ring has been specially processed and can be absorbed by non-hunters. But if you want to absorb the spirit ring, you still need some medium. And it's not a small amount to spend. It's just that Feng Mangong didn't tell Yi Feng about these details, for fear that Yi Feng would be burdened. Yi Feng took a deep breath and sat down cross-legged. Immediately, he saw Feng Mangong wearing a pair of gloves made entirely of soul power. This glove is crystal clear, exuding pure and powerful soul power. After putting on the gloves, Feng Mangong's expression became more cautious. When he opened the crystal box in front of him, his hands instantly grabbed the spirit ring. Just as Feng Mangong grabbed the spirit ring with both hands, a tyrannical force poured out. Immediately, the spirit ring began to struggle rapidly. Feng Mangong snorted coldly, and the soul power surged in his body. The spirit ring, which had been struggling violently, immediately quieted down. Although the time mysterious turtle is extremely strong, it is only 400 years old after all. Compared with the Diamond 7-star Feng Mangong, it is not a star. After controlling the spirit ring, Feng Mangong said, "Yi Feng, use your spirit power to pull it." Yi Feng nodded, immediately began to mobilize the soul power in the body. This is the advantage of being innately full of soul power, When Yi Feng's spirit power touched the spirit ring turned on the resistance mode again. After all, this was not killed by Yi Feng, so it was more difficult to absorb. However, as Feng Mangong cleaned up, the soul ring of the Time Zone turtle immediately became much more honest. It didn't take long for Yi Feng's soul power to completely wrap the pale yellow soul ring. But just when Yi Feng was about to absorb it, the yellow light on the spirit ring suddenly began to gather upwards. Yi Feng knew that this was a sign that the spirit ring was about to dissipate. Feng Mangong was ready and took out 10 milky white spar. This is a special stone called Function Stone. It can seal the potential consciousness in the spirit ring, so that it will no longer resist. Feng Mangong didn't tell Yi Feng that one function stone cost 2 million. These 10 sealing stones are 20 million. Feng Tianxi was injected with soul power by Feng Mangong and shot into all directions. Immediately, each heaven sealing stone radiated light. These rays of light were connected together to form a milky white mask that enveloped Yi Feng and the spirit ring. Under the influence of the function stone, the yellow light that gathered above settled into the spirit ring again. Just after the consciousness of the spirit ring's resistance disappeared, Yi Feng found that the absorption of the spirit ring was much smoother. At this time, the benefits of dual martial arts are reflected. The two martial spirits made Yi Feng's physical fitness extremely strong. The original 400-year-old spirit ring didn't have much pain to absorb. As time passed bit by bit, half an hour passed without knowing it. A yellow light bloomed from Yi Feng's body. Immediately, Yi Feng's eyes opened. Clang! The crisp and pleasant sound of the bell rang, and the spirit of the time god bell appeared automatically. All right. Feng Mangong looked up. With a buzzing sound, a bright yellow spirit ring emerged from Yi Feng's feet. On the yellow soul ring, runes entwined one after another, looking extremely mysterious. Call! Yi Feng let out a sigh of relief, feeling that his body was full of power. After absorbing the soul ring of Time Zone Turtle, Yi Feng officially became a bronze 1-star soul master. At this moment, an illusory panel appeared in my mind. Host: Yi Feng. Boundary: bronze 1-star. Martial soul: Void God Sword. Soul ring. Number: Martial soul: Time clock. Soul ring. 1. Time mysterious turtle: 400 years time freeze. Martial soul point: 0. The panels are detailed and informative. Yi Feng asked, "System, what is this martial soul point?" Back to the host: "The martial soul point can improve the host's realm." The system replied. Yi Feng's eyes lit up. That is to say, as long as he had enough martial soul points, he would be able to advance directly. System: how do you get spirit points? Go back to the host. You can get it as long as you kill the soul beast. The number is related to the strength of the soul beast. The system explained. At the same time, there is a chance to get special rewards for killing soul beasts. This is good. Yi Feng was overjoyed. In other words, as long as he kills soul beasts, he can get martial soul points. Isn't this better than slow cultivation? Yi Feng asked curiously. Special reward? What's the matter? The specific rewards are also requested by the host to explore on their own. The system said, but it will definitely not disappoint the host. Yi Feng nodded thoughtfully. I don't know. Is there a spirit ring? If anything, it would be perfect. At this time, Fang Mangong on the side said expectantly, "Yi Feng, try it out and see the effect." He had never seen a time-based spirit ring before. Yi Feng nodded. With a thought, the soul power in the body is quickly consumed. Immediately, the light of the soul ring of the instant light tortoise bloomed. Bright yellow instantly filled the entire hall. The power of time enveloped the wind and bow. Good. Just as Feng Mangong finished speaking, his face suddenly changed dramatically. Because he discovered that Yi Feng's soul skills actually affected him. Although it was only a momentary effort, the speed of his speech was actually slowed down just now. Feng Mangong's eyes were filled with horror. The effect of the time clock plus time freezing is so terrifying. You know, he is a powerhouse of the 7 stars of diamonds. If this is replaced by a bronze soul master, wouldn't he be charged to death? Horrible, Feng Mangong exclaimed sincerely. This was the first time he had seen a bronze 1-star soul master affect him. With his strength, even the slightest is impossible. But Yi Feng did it. After absorbing the spirit ring, Feng Mangong took Yi Feng back to the school. Yi Feng, tonight I will check the traces of space-type soul beasts. Feng Mangong said with a smile. After I find it, I will contact you tomorrow morning. I will try my best to find the best one for you. Thank you, Headmaster. Yi Feng was a little moved. He knew that Feng Mangong did this not only for official business. Moreover, he is not stupid, he knows the value of those function stones very well. At the same time, the news about Yi Feng's awakening of the dual martial arts spread like wildfire, causing an uproar. The martial arts room of No. 2 Middle School. 5 or 6 boys and girls are training in full swing. They were both high school seniors, but they had already awakened their martial spirits at the age of 16. The innate soul power of each of these 6 people is above 6. Among them, there is one who is innately full of soul power. As the favored sons of the 2nd Middle School, a few people did not slack off, on the contrary, they worked harder than others. If you look closely, you will find that everyone's breath is relatively deep. Obviously, they all started 2 years earlier than the average person already have a certain strength. The strongest among them was the Ban-Inch youth in a black martial arts uniform. Youth is more oppressive than others. Even, no one dared to stay near the training area where he was. During the break, several people gathered together to chat. Brother Hao is so hardworking. Chen Wei, a girl with a beautiful face, whispered, it is clear that the talent is the best and the strength is the strongest, yet she still works so hard. Brother Hao should have reached the bronze 9 stars great consummation, right? With Brother Hao's strength, he will soon be able to add a spirit ring to become a silver rank. That's natural. In a few days at the special training camp, Brother Hao may be able to overwhelm that guy in the 1st Middle School. Several others said. Lin Hao, as the strongest person in the 2nd Middle School, does not know how many people admire him. Chen Wei is no exception. At this moment, Lin Hao's eyes were full of admiration. At this moment, Chen Wei's cell phone rang. Chen Wei lazily took out her mobile phone and clicked on the class group. Immediately, she saw Chen Wei's small mouth gradually open. Immediately after, with a bang, Chen Wei's phone fell to the ground. What's wrong, Wei Wei? Zhou Yu on the side asked. Chen Wei said with shock in her eyes, You read the class news. With that said, everyone pulled out their phones. Lin Hao, who was not far away, glanced at everyone and frowned slightly. He was too lazy to read the news. With this kung fu, it is better to practice. But then, everyone, including Zhou Yu, had a stern expression. Immediately afterwards, the sound of the trough sounded one after another. What's wrong? Lin Hao asked casually. Zhou Yu said with indescribable surprise in his eyes. Brother Hao, the 2nd class's martial spirit has just been awakened, and some people are born full of spirit power. Lin Hao nodded indifferently and didn't take it to heart. It is not uncommon for those classmates who awakened at the age of 18 to have an innate soul power by chance. Brother Hao, he. Zhou Yu swallowed and said, his martial spirit is the sword of nothingness. Lin Hao's body froze, his hand holding the dumbbell stopped in the air, and his voice increased several decibels. What did you say? Brother Hao, this guy is a twin martial spirit. Zhou Yu stared at the phone and looked at the line of words and said, there is another time clock. Bang! The dumbbell in Lin Hao's hand suddenly fell to the ground. However, Lin Hao was completely unaware of this. Quote. After being stunned for a while, Lin Hao suddenly took out his mobile phone from his bag. Then look at the message. This should be fake, right? Chen Wei looked at the crowd and said. Several people did not speak, obviously they were shocked. It shouldn't be fake. Zhou Yu murmured. Mada, how can someone be so terrifying with talent? Void God Sword, Time God Clock. These are two peerless martial arts. Yeah, even senior Li Fengxian can't compare, right? HMPH, peerless martial spirit, what about innate soul power? This guy started 2 years later than us, and it is impossible to catch up with us. That's true, but I'm sour. Quote. Several people were in different moods. But even if he didn't say it, he was jealous and jealous in his heart. The best of these two are not sour. The Void God Saber is already the super martial spirit that countless people dream of. As a result, that guy even awakened the first martial spirit that had been extinct for thousands of years. Which of you here is not a genius? Which one is not enjoying the stars and the moon of other classmates? In my heart, they are all high above, and don't put others in the eye. But now, there is one person who has crushed them in talent. This shock is stronger than anything else. And Lin Hao, the strongest in the second middle school, stared at the phone for a long time without saying a word. After a long time, Lin Hao said quietly, fortunately, he just woke up. No one refuted this sentence, and at the same time, I was glad in my heart. Starting 2 years later than them, no matter how evil Yifeng is, he can't surpass them, right? After saying goodbye to Feng Mangong, Yifeng was ready to return to the classroom to continue the class. There are computers in the classrooms. Yifeng intends to check the relevant knowledge of the two martial spirits. When I arrived in the classroom, my classmates all gathered around. Brother Feng, you are amazing, and you are the #1 talent in No. 2 middle school. The #2 in the second middle school should be #1 in the country. With Brother Feng's talent, it is a certainty to enter Taikyo University. Brother Feng, I bought 2 movie tickets. It's an action movie that you guys like. Let's watch it together. Brother Feng, my sister is 3 years old this year, her name is Xiaoliu, 6 of 666. Would you like to introduce you to me? Tang 3, you are too shameless. How about joining the fun at the age of 3? Brother Feng, my aunt is 25 years old this year. When will I have time to sit at my house? A group of people chatted around Yifeng. Yifeng's footsteps were stagnant. Seeing this, Xiao Yan quickly explained, it's Yun Shaner, one of the 4 beauties in the imperial capital. She is my cousin. It doesn't matter if you are aunt or not, the main thing is that you still have to move around more among your classmates. Yifeng said solemnly, Xiao Yan, save a game and let me know. Well, let your aunt come too, it's just crowded for no other reason. Yifeng was about to turn on the computer. Yifeng. Zhou Ping pushed the crowd away and walked towards Yifeng quickly. Yifeng nodded and was about to speak and suddenly felt bad. Zhou Ping was his classmate, and he woke up at the age of 16. The relationship between the two generally rarely talks, but they are both in the same class and can be considered a little acquaintance. But just now, Yifeng felt a killing intent in Zhou Ping's eyes. Go to hell. Zhou Ping, who had just approached Yifeng, suddenly looked ferocious. Immediately afterwards, a tyrannical wave of soul power came. The next moment, Zhou Ping's fingernails grew rapidly like wolf claws. In fact, Zhou Ping has another identity, a member of the 10,000 Beast sect. And the purpose of the 10,000 Beasts religion is to eradicate all the arrogance of the human race. Zhou Ping was very smart, first approached Yifeng to shorten the distance, and then suddenly shot. Using Zhou Ping's bronze 5-star strength to kill the newly awakened Yifeng would not miss at all. And Zhou Ping thought so too. It has been 4 years since he joined the 10,000 Beasts. It was precisely because of the beasts who taught him that he could awaken his martial spirit in advance at the age of 16. In the past 2 years, he has been lurking and waiting for the opportunity to make meritorious service. And now is the opportunity. He believed that as long as he killed Yifeng, it would be a great achievement. When the time comes to escape, the Church of All Beasts will definitely give a great reward. This sudden scene made the surrounding students stunned for a moment, and immediately panicked. Except for Zhou Ping, they were all just awakened. Not even a spirit ring is attached. Facing the pressure brought by the bronze 5 stars, everyone was a little breathless. Oops, Brother Fang, Xiao Yan and the others looked horrified. PFF'd. Zhou Ping's nails that were stretched several times easily tore Yi Feng's school uniform. But just when everyone thought that Yi Feng's heart was about to be broken. Clang! A crisp bell rang. The yellow spirit ring under Yi Feng's feet was bright. Time freezes. Immediately, Yi Feng said silently. The mysterious power of time enveloped Zhou Ping. Zhou Ping's claws froze the moment it touched the skin. Zhou Ping himself also kept his previous movements as still as the sculptures. Even the wind and the bow are affected by the freezing of time, not to mention the bronze level. From Zhou Ping's shot to being controlled by the freezing of time, Yi Feng was very calm from beginning to end. He was also afraid that Zhou Ping would not approach. After all, with his current strength, time freezing can only take effect within a range of 3 meters. As for the solidification time, for Zhou Ping, who had 5 stars in bronze, it was enough for him to die 10 times. No. Well, Zhou Ping couldn't move his body, and even his consciousness was reduced to a minimum. Bad things came to my mind, I was totally in control. In normal times, this sentence is finished in 3 seconds. But at this moment, Zhou Ping seems to have slowed down 100 times. Xiao Yan and the others' eyes widened in disbelief. Why doesn't Zhou Ping move? Is it being controlled by Brother Fang? What kind of soul skill is this? Even a powerhouse like Zhou Ping has been controlled. Everyone looked at each other, you look at me and I look at you. Apparently they were all taken aback. Yi Feng retracted the time clock, and immediately opened his palm. A transparent sword with a length of 1 meter 5 appeared. As soon as this void god sword, which was formed entirely by the squirming of space, appeared on the stage, it immediately exuded an incomparable aura. As the most powerful weapon spirit, the void god saber is extremely sharp. Even if there is no soul ring attached, it is not difficult to kill Zhou Ping with 5 stars in bronze. Under the attention of Xiao Yan and others, Yi Feng was holding a transparent sword. This feels rather strange. It was as if the sword was invisible, but it was not completely invisible, but a silhouette of a sword appeared during the journey. Zhou Ping's eyes were full of fear. He is afraid. Sorry, What Zhou Ping thought was that I should have known that Yi Feng had a soul ring. After all, everyone knew that Feng Mangong took Yi Feng away before. Let me ask, would such a peerless enchanting school not take it seriously? Will you be courting? Unfortunately, he has no time to regret it. Yi Feng waved gently, and the sword of nothingness cut off Zhou Ping's left arm like cutting tofu. As a tool soul that controls the power of space, the void god sword did not cut off the arm from the physical level. Instead, the use of space combination, or the twisting of space, broke Zhou Ping's arm. Such power is unpredictable. Zhou Ping's left shoulder incision was so smooth that he didn't even have time to shed blood. Although Zhou Ping was in severe pain, under the influence of time freezing, he hadn't even conveyed the pain consciousness. Yi Feng slammed a few times, and the sword of nothingness cut off Zhou Ping's right arm. The only people who can openly attack oneself on this occasion are those who may be cults. In today's world, the human race is united in order to fight against the soul beasts. Even if there are very few restless people, they will not be so bold to take action on themselves here. The moment Zhou Ping's right arm broke, the effect of time freezing receded. What? Zhou Ping's screams resounded through the class. The next moment, the blue light flashed, and Feng Mangong appeared with a gloomy face. Shish! Feng Mangong waved his hand, and he grabbed a token like a tiger's head. People from the 10,000 Beast cult. Feng Mangong was not surprised, but the coldness in his eyes was even worse. He did not expect the layout of the 10,000 beasts to be so far-reaching that there were even cultists lurking in his school. Yi Feng, you haven't killed anyone, have you? Feng Mangong looked at Zhou Ping who was rolling on the ground in pain and said lightly, kill it. Yi Feng raised his brows. Aren't you going to torture me? Hehe, I can't ask anything. Feng Mangong said, they are all infused with the imprint of the beasts. Yi Feng was stunned. This is the method used by the myriad beast sect to control the cultists. Once there is a leak, it may immediately activate and kill the opponent. Yi Fang didn't hesitate any longer, he raised his knife and dropped it. Ding! Congratulations to the host for killing the bronze 5-star opponent and obtaining 80 martial arts points. Ding! The host kills the target for the first time, and an additional reward is a real stone of the soul. At the moment of Zhou Ping's death, 2 beeps came one after another. Yi Fang froze for a moment and was overjoyed. He hadn't thought that killing people could also trigger rewards. Yi Fang asked, "Wait, what is the spiritual stone for?" Returning to the host, the true stone of the spirit can increase the life of the spirit ring, and one can increase the life of the spirit ring by 600 years. As soon as these words came out, Yi Fang's eyes skyrocketed. Can the age of the soul ring be increased? This simply refreshed Yi Fang's 3 views. 600 years. Doesn't this mean that the time mysterious turtle can become a 1,000-year-old spirit ring? Thinking of this, Yi Fang's heart beat faster. Yi Fang's temperament couldn't help but be excited at the moment. Time freeze is a 100-year spirit ring skill. If the spirit ring becomes 1,000 years old, the power of the spirit ability will also increase accordingly. And the most important thing is that since this true spirit stone can be obtained once, it can be obtained a second time and a third time. Maybe in the near future, all his spirit rings will be 100,000 years old. Thinking about it makes me excited. Yi Fang, you will be staying in the dormitory during this time. Feng Mangong said solemnly, I will protect you personally. The Zhou Ping incident greatly increased Feng Mangong's sense of crisis. Although Zhou Ping was killed, what if Bai Yin came next? No matter how strong Yi Fang is, he can't beat him. Yi Fang didn't refuse, it would be stupid not to hug if he has thighs. Moreover, the facilities in the school are more comfortable than living at home alone. Hearing the conversation between the two, a look of strangeness flashed in the eyes of one of the classmates in the crowd. Evening. Under Feng Mangong's suggestion, Yi Fang directly moved into the teacher's dormitory. And Yi Fang's next door is Feng Mangong. With the protection of a diamond-level soul master, Yi Fang's safety no longer has to be worried. Call. After closing the door, Yi Fang took out the spirit stone. Immediately, extremely pure soul power fluctuations spread. That's amazing. Yi Fang sighed with emotion. Soul rings only have a fixed number of years and cannot be improved at all. This is already common sense written in textbooks. The system, however, refreshed this perception. The absorption of martial soul true stone is very simple, you only need to summon the spirit ring that you want to increase the age. With a thought, the soul ring of the time zone turtle emerged from under his feet. Yi Fang mobilized his soul power to wrap the martial soul true stone. Immediately afterwards, an inexplicable force quickly moved towards the spirit ring. In Yi Fang's perception, the original yellow light gradually became deeper. The 10-year spirit ring is white, and the 100-year spirit ring is yellow. The millennium is purple. Buzz. After the last bit of energy of the spirit stone was absorbed, the dark yellow spirit ring suddenly trembled. The next moment, mysterious, noble purple filled the room. A breath-stopping pressure spread, and Yi Fang felt the excitement from the spirit ring. Thousands of years. At this time, Yi Fang was shrouded in purple light, with a powerful momentum. It's been 1,000 years since my first spirit ring. Yi Fang grinned, feeling dreamy. Different realms have different time periods for absorbing spirit rings. The bronze class is up to 500 years old. The silver level is 999 years. Even so, most people's first spirit rings are only around 100 years old. After all, not everyone is innately full of soul power. And Yi Fang's first spirit ring is 1,000 years. If this is spread out, it will definitely shock many people. Then Yi Fang tried it out. It's just that because there is no opponent, Yi Fang can only see that the range has expanded. From the original 3 meters to 10 meters. 10 meters is enough for most situations. Even if the opponent suddenly attacked from a distance, Yi Fang had enough distance to deal with it. In addition to the range, the number of controls has also changed from 1 to 5. In other words, Yi Fang can control 5 targets. The freezing time should also increase. Yi Fang has no way to test this, so he doesn't know what the upper limit of time freezing is. After putting away the spirit ring, Yi Fang let out a sigh of relief. The consumption of soul power is the same as before, which is good. System, is there any other way to obtain spirit points? Yi Feng asked. With the matter of Zhou Ping, Yi Feng felt a little more prepared. He doesn't have the power to protect himself yet, and it is too risky to rush out of the city to hunt soul beasts. And the people of the 10,000 beast cult are not every day. Therefore, it is imperative to enhance the strength. Go back to the host, and you can exchange soul crystals for martial soul points. A sentence from the system made Yi Feng's eyes brighten. Soul crystals contain pure soul power, which can be absorbed by soul masters to improve their cultivation. In the circle of soul masters, soul crystals are hard currency. What about the exchange rate? A low-grade soul crystal can be exchanged for 10 martial soul points. Said the system. I go so well. Yi Feng was overjoyed. He previously killed Zhou Ping and got 80 spirit points, while 100 spirit points are needed for bronze 1 star to bronze 2 star. In other words, Yi Feng only needed to take out 2 low-grade soul crystals. According to the current price, a low-grade soul crystal is equivalent to 1,000 yuan. 2,000 yuan can be promoted. Where can such a good thing be found? It seems that tomorrow I have to find time to convert my savings into soul crystals. Yi Feng is in a good mood. Yi Feng received a pension of 200,000 yuan after his parents died in the war. After spending 160,000 over the years, there is still 40,000 left. According to the exchange ratio, 40,000 can make him upgrade to bronze 3 star. At the same time, in a private house in Taizheng, 10,000 beast sect split the rudder. After getting the news, several congregants gathered together with a bit of shock on their faces. There is someone who can awaken the time clock and the void sword at the same time. It's unbelievable. How can there be such a monstrous person? HMPH, no matter how evil you are, you will die. I didn't expect that Yi Feng could kill Zhou Ping. Do you know what soul skill that is? The 10,000 beast sect colluded with the strong soul beasts, and it was deeply rooted, and almost every major faction had their people. The news that Yi Feng beheaded Zhou Ping was also immediately spread. It should be a time-based soul skill. At this time, the rudder master, who had not spoken, said, as far as I know, Taizheng University has a soul ring of the time mysterious turtle. Time mysterious turtle. I remember it seems to be called time freezing, right? A congregation suddenly realized. No wonder Zhou Ping seems to be immobilized. Hey, although time freezing is a strong control, it can only hold one person. The corner of the helm master's mouth rose slightly, revealing a sinister smile. With Yi Feng's potential, Feng Mangong will definitely let him join the special training camp. When the time comes, Wu Min will be able to take action. Wu Min is a student in the 3rd class of the 2nd middle and high school. At the age of 16, his martial soul awakened, and he is now a bronze 8-star soul master. In terms of strength, it ranks 3rd and affiliated too. After the sub-helmsman finished speaking, everyone was stunned. Wu Min is a secret son we have carefully cultivated. Will it be too expensive to let him take action? With Wu Min's strength, he can enter Taikyo University. At that time, they will also know what Taikyo University is doing. Now let Wu Min come forward. Even if Wu Min succeeds, I am afraid that there is no possibility of surviving. So, 2 people are needed to help. The sub-helmet said lightly. 3 people shot at the same time. Even if Yi Feng's time freezing can affect one of them, the other 2 will also have a chance to shoot. As soon as this statement appeared, everyone's eyes lit up. The rudder master is brilliant. If Yi Feng dies, the value of these 3 people will be reflected, and the holy religion will not be cultivated in vain. The sub-rudder master's voice was cold, silent all night. The next morning, Yi Feng opened the door, and Feng Mangong had a smile on his face. Yi Feng, good news. Yi Feng's eyes lit up. Principal found out. In the Tianshu Mountains 500 kilometers southwest of the imperial capital. Feng Mangong said happily. There is a 500-year-old void crocodile. This is what I asked a friend to find out. It's a once-in-a-lifetime encounter. Yi Feng, you are so lucky. Time-based soul beasts are rare in thousands of years. And space-type soul beasts are also extremely difficult to find. Originally Feng Mangong was hopeless. Unexpectedly, there is actually one. The strength of the 500-year-old void crocodile is equivalent to the bronze great perfection. However, With the space attribute of the void crocodile, even the spirit masters of the early silver stage may not be able to compete. After half an hour, a Xiao whirlwind descended on the Tianshu Mountains. At the speed of the wind full of bows, 500 kilometers can be reached in half an hour. Obtain this spirit ring, and you will have a certain combat power in the special training camp the day after tomorrow. Feng Mangong smiled while positioning. The special training camp is held once a year, bringing together the top 3 talents in the country. And among these people, most of them woke up at the age of 16. The strength is basically in the late bronze stage. Even the bronze great perfection is not in the minority. Yi Feng started too late, but if he had the space and time to support him with 2 soul rings, his combat power would not be weaker than that of the middle stage of bronze. Yi Feng didn't speak, although he has never competed with bronze Zochan before, but with the help of time solidification and the sword of nothingness, he may not be able to defeat. And if it goes well this time, add the first space spirit ring. You may have a chance to win. The purpose of the special training camp is to cultivate talents from all over the world, and select the top students who will go directly to the 3 major universities. Li Fengxian, who had done martial arts awakening for Yi Feng and the others before, was the first in the special training camp last year. In the end, Li Fengxian chose Taikyo University. What makes Yi Feng more important is that the rewards of the special training camp are very generous. And these can be exchanged for soul crystals. In other words, the special training camp is the best way for him to rapidly improve his strength. Found it. At this time, Feng Mangong put down the locator in his hand and looked somewhere in the void. Space-type soul beasts are mostly hidden in space. This kind of soul beast is not easy to find, but it is not too laborious to use the method of wind and bow. Yi Feng, you go to 3 kilometers to lead it out. Feng Mangong said. Yi Feng nodded and walked towards the designated direction. The low-level soul beasts are not highly intelligent, and at the same time they are extremely eager for soul masters of the same attribute. Soul masters can get matching soul rings by killing soul beasts of the same attribute. And if a soul beast devours a soul master of the same attribute, its strength will also increase. Space-type soul masters are extremely rare, and the void crocodile has no reason not to act after sensing Yi Feng. As predicted, when Yi Feng came to a dense forest, a ripple immediately appeared in the space above. The ripples in the space spread rapidly, and Yi Feng had been prepared to secretly mobilize his soul power. Ow! The next moment, a 10-meter-long gray crocodile fell from the sky. The void crocodile opened his bloody mouth with excitement in his eyes. He felt a fatal attraction from Yi Feng. This shows that this weak human has a space-type martial spirit. But just when the void crocodile thought Yi Feng was within reach, a clear bell rang. Immediately, the hands on the big clock turned, and the terrifying power of time quickly spread. Buzz! A lavender spirit ring emerged from under his feet. With Yi Feng as the center, everything within a radius of 10 meters was frozen, including the void crocodile. A pair of gray eyes of the void crocodile exuded a strong shock. Immediately, shock was replaced by fear. He found that he couldn't move. Not only can he not move, but he can't even use his proud space ability. Feng Mangong, who was about to shoot not far away, froze for a moment and then his eyes widened. Millennium Soul Ring. Yesterday was 400 years old, but today it has become purple. This is a 1,000-year-old spirit ring. After controlling the void crocodile, Yi Feng was overjoyed. Time freezes as he thought, and even the bronze great perfection can be controlled. Moreover, the time freezing after turning into a 1,000-year-old spirit ring can control the void crocodile for up to 10 seconds. At this time, even 10 lives of the void crocodile are not enough to kill him. Feng Mangong stopped and noticed this change. This guy. Feng Mangong was shocked. Rao as that time has solidified into a 1,000-year spirit ring skill, so wouldn't it be so defiant? You know, Yi Feng is only a bronze star. The clock of time, is this against the sky? Feng Mangong didn't shoot, he wanted to see if Yi Feng could kill the void crocodile with his own efforts. Yi Feng shot. Time god Zhang Wuhun disappeared, and the void god sword exuding a fierce momentum appeared. The sword of nothingness, which was completely formed by the squirming of space, stabbed into the abdomen of the void crocodile with an unmatched momentum. Even if Yi Feng didn't use his soul skills at this time, his power has surpassed that of most century-old soul skills. PFF. The frozen void crocodile has no resistance at all. Under the knife, the most vulnerable abdomen was penetrated. Immediately, the breath of the void crocodile descended at a speed visible to the naked eye. Puff. When Yi Feng took out the void god sword, the void crocodile's abdomen exploded directly. Facing the attack of the first weapon spirit, even the void crocodile with great perfection in bronze was killed by one move. When a pale yellow spirit ring appeared on the body of the void crocodile, the time freezing had not been lifted. Ding! Congratulations to the host for killing the void crocodile and obtaining 120 martial soul points. Feng Mangong had a hellish look on his face. He guessed that Yi Feng might be able to kill the void crocodile. But I never dreamed that it would be so fast. From the appearance of the void crocodile to the appearance of the spirit ring, it took only 1 second before and after. And Yi Feng, a mere first bronze star, actually killed the bronze great perfection void crocodile in an instant. You must know that this is a space-type soul beast that can rival an early-stage silver soul master. In Yi Feng's hands, he was like an ant without the slightest resistance. Hiss. Feng Mangong took a deep breath and became more and more excited. Before, he thought Yi Feng was at the bottom even if he went to the special training camp. But now, this guy is clearly an open-ended product. Once the space system spirit ring is attached, Yi Feng might be able to kill the silver spirit master. As for Yi Feng's upper limit, Rao Shifeng Mangong is too knowledgeable to be sure. Unbelievable. This kid is absolutely against the sky. I thought that it started 2 years later than many geniuses, and Yi Feng still had some difficulty trying to catch up. But now, oh, those geniuses are waiting for despair. Yi Feng's expression was calm and unsurprising. He probably guessed the power of time freezing. As the strongest martial spirit in history, if you can't even kill the bronze great perfection, can it still be called the strongest? Since the void crocodile was killed by Yi Feng himself, there is no burden to absorb it. 20 minutes later, under the escort of Feng Mangong, the absorption process was very smooth. Host. Yi Feng. Boundary. Bronze 1 star. Martial Soul Void God Sword. Soul Ring. 1. Void Crocodile 500 years Space Blade. Martial Soul Time Clock. Soul Ring. 1. Time Mysterious Turtle 1000 years Time Freeze. Martial Soul Point 200. It turned out to be an offensive spirit skill, very good. Yi Feng was overjoyed after seeing the panel. Time freezing is the strongest control. Now that he has a strong attack soul skill, he is more confident when facing the enemy. Although the Sword of Nothingness is very sharp, if it encounters a particularly powerful opponent, it still needs soul skills. And the Sword of Nothingness alone can cut bronze with great perfection. What if you add a space blade? Sour. Yi Feng couldn't help laughing. Coupled with the martial soul points obtained by beheading the void crocodile, Yi Feng can already break through. But now is not the time. Yi Feng, I'm already looking forward to your performance in the special training camp. Feng Mangong's expression is very wonderful. Affiliated no. 2 middle school is under pressure from no. 1 middle school all the year round. This year was no exception, but Yi Feng appeared. Feng Mangong felt very happy when he thought of the aggrieved expression of the old guy in no. 1 middle school. Have a good rest tomorrow, and let the guys from no. 1 middle school take a good look at what a real genius is the day after tomorrow. When he said this, Feng Man bowed his waist and stood straight. Yi Feng glanced at Feng Mangong a little surprised. Hey, are you wondering why I didn't ask you about the spirit ring? The corners of Feng Mangong's mouth rose slightly, as if he already knew everything. Yi Feng's mind was condensed. Does he know that I have a system? With your talent and yesterday's vision, I think some superpowers have noticed you. Feng Mangong said with a smile. It's just that I didn't expect someone to move so fast. What I didn't expect was that that person was so willing. Tisk tisk, the spirit real stone, this is a rare item of priceless value. Yi Feng was slightly taken aback when he said this. Feng Mangong also knows the real stone of the soul. Feng Mangong looked like I had seen your details long ago, and smiled lightly. The real stone of the soul is worth hundreds of millions at the auction. Ordinary people can't come up with it. I guess the other party should be a great master, right? What? Yi Feng raised his brows. Is this your reasoning? Who gave you this confident look? Hee, only the great Grand Master has this background, but I don't know who it is. Fang Mangong touched his chin and said to himself, well, this requires some thinking. Yi Feng laughed in his heart. Think slowly. He had some scruples before, but now he is calm. Yes, there is indeed a great master standing behind me. After the diamond comes the master. And above the master is the great master. The Grand Master is the first-class powerhouse in the human race, and each of them has a noble status. It's just that they either guard a dangerous place or have other tasks, which are difficult for ordinary people to see. Well, the principal has thought of a good excuse for me. Yi Feng glanced at Feng Mangong, whose wise expression appeared, and showed an expression that you have guessed my secret. Seeing this, Feng Mangong confirmed his guess even more. He couldn't help but say with a great demeanor, you kid wants to hide a secret in front of me, but you're still a little tender. It is a great thing for Feng Mangong to be seen by the great master and give such great help. And that person hasn't shown up until now, which means that he doesn't care whether Yi Feng goes to Taijing University or not. After returning to school, Yi Feng was about to exchange soul crystals when Feng Mangong suddenly changed his expression. Immediately, a look of surprise flashed in his eyes. Why are the people from the divine prison here? As soon as he finished speaking, a middle-aged man in black and gold armor came from a distance. The man was obviously far away and not walking fast, but in the blink of an eye he was standing in front of Yi Feng and Feng Mangong. Feng Mangong said politely, Qinzhong prisoner, why are you free to come to me? Yi Feng's expression moved slightly. According to the words of the previous life, the divine prison is equivalent to a special department. They were born to kill. The opponent is either a powerful soul beast or a scum that harms the human race. According to Yi Feng's knowledge, the divine prison was established by the world's top powerhouse, Fa Zun. Under the Dharma Venerable, there are 9 imperial capitals. Every Yudu is a master-level superpower. Under the imperial capital is the prison envoy. The strength of the prison envoys is mostly at the master level, and they will command the guards under them to execute killings again and again. Feng Mangong is only at the diamond level, and the prisoner who faces the master realm must also be polite. Qin Lai nodded as a greeting. Just as he was about to speak, he suddenly froze. Yesterday morning, Venerable Dharma called him to come here today and ordered some things. However, Dharma Venerable did not tell himself that the chess pavilion was also coming. As soon as the thought arises, ripples appear in the space above. Yi Feng has the sword of nothingness, so he feels it more clearly. When the void tore a hole, a tall and slender woman with a long breath came into view. Women wear a very representative robe, which is somewhat similar to the hanfu worn by the ancients in previous lives. His long black hair fell like ink. The bright eyes seemed to contain the entire universe. Even though Yi Feng has seen a lot of good-looking people, he has to admit that the woman in front of him is the best. Golden ratio body, everything is just right. Walking around, a pair of slender legs loomed under the wide robe. There is a hint of rebelliousness in his demeanor, which makes people very eager to conquer. Feng Mangong and Qin Lai said at the same time, Master Shui. After Feng Mangong finished speaking, he turned his head and explained to Yi Feng, this is the proud student of Lord Chess King. The 3 words Shi Shui can be said to be like thunder. Yi Feng raised his brows. He probably understood why the two came. The Chess King, like the Dharma Venerable, is the top powerhouse of the human race. And the Chess King's chess pavilion is not inferior to the God Prison in terms of strength and status. However, the mission of Qish is not killing, but strategy. In today's human race, the strategy of the major battlefields and secret realms is given by Qish. In ancient times, the chess pavilion was equivalent to a military division training camp. It trains all military-level talents. In one day, the backbone of the 2 top-level strengths arrived at the same time. This makes Feng Mangong feel unreal. Also not surprising. After all, Yi Feng's talent and potential are there. Even the aloof God Prison and chess pavilion are not exempt. After Shi Shui appeared, he looked at Yi Feng. His purpose was self-evident. Cough cough, the 2 of you go to my office to talk. Feng Mangong said. Qin Lai and Shi Shui did not refuse. Yi Feng, go. On the way to the office, Fang Mangong quietly took out his mobile phone and sent a message. Qin Lai and Shi Shuiyi were both famous masters. It is also the backbone of the two top forces. And Fang Mangong is much worse in terms of strength and status. So he was very self-aware to ask for help. When the four came to the office full of bows, just as Yi Feng sat down, a hot breath came. The next moment, a cyan flame appeared out of thin air in the room. The flame squirmed and turned into a middle-aged man in a dark blue suit. See the dean. Fang Mangong stood up and saluted. The person who came was Yu Qingyan, the dean of the Elements Institute of Tejing University. Yu Qingyan nodded with a smile, looked at Qin Lai and Shi Shuiyi, and said, "You two, stay safe." Qin Lai, who was like a soldier, and Shi Shuiyi, who was cold and arrogant, were not good at words. The two nodded and said hello. Yu Qingyan and Fang Mangong glanced at each other. The latter understood. Xinjiang prison envoy, Shi Shuiyi, Yi Feng has been specially recruited by Principal Wang, and now he is from our Tejing University. Fang Mangong said politely, so. The implication is that you can give benefits, but you can't poach Yi Feng. Although he is full of bows, he cannot compare with Divine Prison and Chess Pavilion. But the people behind Yu Qingyan and Tejing University are the famous Suzaku. Suzaku, like Fa Zun and Chess King, are the top 3 soul masters of the human race. And the Spirit Master Academies such as Dijing University were established by Suzaku. In addition, Suzaku also has a Suzaku army that makes the soul beasts terrified. This army is invincible and has achieved many achievements. In terms of influence, perhaps Suzaku is the biggest among the 3. The branch dean, Yu Qingyan, had previously served in the Suzaku Corps. After that, he was assigned to Taikyo University as the dean of the Elements Institute. So the wind full bow at this time is very confident. Yi Feng sat upright on the sofa like a good student. He didn't interrupt, and he knew it wasn't necessary. The 3 talked for a while, and it was roughly decided that the protagonist would need to appear. But Shi Shuiyi's next words made Yi Feng stunned. Principal Feng, Dean Yu, I am not here this time to solicit. Shi Shuiyi looked calm and said, at the teacher's order, I came here to give Yi Feng a gift. Fang Mangong and Yu Qingyan froze at the same time. Qish sent Shi Shuiyi to come, isn't it to rob people? Send a gift. This is good. I like. Suddenly Fang Mangong and Yu Qingyan both had smiles on the corners of their mouths. Especially when the wind is full of bows, the sitting posture is more casual. Shi Shuiyi stretched out his white right hand. The light on the lotus arm, which was as white as jade, flickered. The next moment, the space in front of him squirmed. Immediately afterwards, a transparent wing came into view. The wings exuded a palpitating aura, and with Yi Feng's strength, he felt a lot of pressure. The wings, which are completely condensed from space, look very magical at the moment when they flap lightly. And Yi Feng's eyes are full of dazzling divine light. External spirit bone. Fang Mangong stood up and exclaimed, This is the attached spirit bone obtained from the void dragon eagle. For spirit masters, apart from martial spirits, the most important thing is spirit rings and spirit bones. The former can be obtained as long as you kill the soul beast. It's just a question of whether the age and soul skills match. But soul bones are extremely difficult to obtain. According to the textbook, the production of spirit bones requires a variety of conditions, which are almost harsh. Simply put, the probability is about 1 in 100,000. In other words, it is only possible for a single soul bone to appear after the death of 100,000 soul beasts. And spirit bones are not like spirit rings, which can be used by all spirit masters. There are 7 types of spirit bones: left arm bone, right arm bone, left leg bone, right leg bone, trunk bone, skull, and the most special attached spirit bone. The reason why it is special is because the attached spirit bones will become stronger with the improvement of the spirit master's strength. Take the void dragon eagle as an example. This is a 2000 soul beast, and the age of its attached soul bone is also 2000. If it was absorbed by Yi Feng, as long as Yi Feng continued to become stronger, the age of the soul bone would continue to increase. In other words, this is an existence that has the potential to become a 100,000-year peerless soul bone. Such a strange thing, no one will not be moved. The eyes of several people present were soaring. Rao is that top masters like Qin Lai and Yu Qingyan are all staring at this externally attached soul bone at the moment. The attached spirit bones, which are of the highest quality, are produced from the space-type spirit beasts, the void dragon eagle. This can no longer be described as a treasure. This can take your life to fight. Yi Feng's breathing began to quicken. This is for me. For me. Mine. There was a hint of helplessness on Shi Shui's beautiful face. No one is not moved by the spirit bone attached to the void dragon eagle. Even if she is coveted. This top-quality external spirit bone has been regarded as a treasure by the chess king ever since it entered the chess pavilion. Previously, Shi Shui and other chess king students still thought that if they performed outstandingly, the teacher would reward them with this spirit bone. As a result, the dream was shattered. And when she learned that the chess king was going to give Yi Feng the attached spirit bone, she was even more puzzled. Yi Feng is definitely a super genius. Proud like a Dr. Shui, and also know that he is inferior to Yi Feng in terms of talent. But if Yi Feng is from Chess Pavilion, then give it away. But according to the meaning of the Chess King, he did not intend to rob people. This is a little bit hard to understand. Gudong. Apart from Shi Shui being relatively restrained, the 8 pairs of eyes were all staring at the attached spirit bones. Everyone is subconsciously drooling. Fortunately, Yu Qingyan and the others are strong-willed, and they are absolutely loyal to the human race. If it were someone else, they might have rushed forward desperately. After recovering, Yu Qingyan and Qin Lai looked at each other. Yu Qingyan was a little confused. He did not expect Chess Pavilion to be so generous. No, it's not generosity, it's bleeding. What does the Chess King, his old man, mean? This should be the only piece of spirit bone attached to the outer space system in the world, right? Feng Mangong murmured. To be honest, he couldn't be envious. If such a top-grade spirit bone was placed outside, it would definitely make countless spirit masters go crazy. Even the existence above the great master will be heartbroken. At the same time, Chess Pavilion, like Divine Prison, is located in the core area of Imperial Capital. In the main hall of the chess pavilion, a middle-aged man in a linen gown sat cross-legged on a soft cushion. Opposite is the Dharma Venerable with white beard and white robe. Between the two is a chessboard shaped like white marble. This game has been going on for an hour. But so far there has been no winner. You are willing. Dharma Venerable said to drop a sunspot. Immediately, the dense rise on the chessboard was incomparably wonderful. The chess emperor's long black hair was casually draped behind him, and the extremely simple linen gown gave off a sense of freedom and ease. The chess king said calmly, I can't bear the child and can't bear the wolf. Fa Zun looked at the chess king. Immediately, he stroked his beard and said, what did you see? You guess. The chess king raised his head with a smile. Fa Zun smiled and said, with you, the chess king who spied on the secrets, I don't need to guess. The chess king looked as usual, and after dropping the white child, he said, there seems to be movement in the Asura world. Dharma Venerable did not dwell on the previous topic, but said, it's time to come after being silent for so long. The attitude of the ape saint is somewhat elusive. The last piece of the chess king fell, and he returned to the chessboard, and everything was settled. It's boring, I lose to you every time. Dharma Venerable stretched his waist. His beard as white as snow fluttered in the wind. I don't think you need to worry about that boy of the ape saint. The chess king glanced at Fa Zun with a smile in the corner of his eyes. I know what you're thinking, Nolan boy, it's not time to close the net. Although it looks like Fa Zun is much older, in fact, the chess king is 300 years older than Fa Zun. The Dharma Venerable's name is Saint Nolan. As for the chess king, it is called Wangfu God. The words of the chess king caused the Dharma Venerable to pause for a moment. Immediately, Venerable Dharma said, go back. Before he finished speaking, the whole person disappeared directly in front of the chess king. The chess king looked at the white child in his hand and smiled. Second middle school. Master Chess King just gave this thing. Yu Qingyan still didn't quite believe it. To be honest, the spirit bone attached to the void dragon eagle is actually much more precious than the spirit ring of the time mysterious turtle. Compared with Chess Pavilion, the conditions given by Taikyo University are a bit poor. Shi Shui shook his head and looked at Yi Feng. Yi Feng, the teacher said that you don't have to worry about it, all choices can be based on your heart. As for the rest, I didn't reveal it. By heart. Yi Feng took this sentence to heart. As for the attached spirit bones that made several people jealous, he naturally accepted them. There is a storage space that comes with the system, so you are not afraid of being robbed. It's just that this top quality soul bone is good, but its age is too high. Yi Feng estimated that at least he had to wait for the silver before he could absorb it. Now rushing to absorb it, it will only be a small death. And Yi Feng couldn't guess the chess king's intention. But he instinctively felt that this was not necessarily a bad thing. Today's human race is united. In order to resist the soul beast, the human race high level is very friendly to the genius. For example, Li Fengxian and others before, they will have various privileges. His own talent is unique, and the chess king and the others can understand it if they give certain benefits and protection. And no matter what their real purpose is, the current self has no reason to refuse. Can become stronger, why refuse? After accepting the spirit bone attached to the void dragon eagle, several people looked at Qin Lai at the same time. Obviously very curious to know what Dharma Venerable means. Qin Lai's mouth twitched slightly. Fa Zun came to him yesterday because he wanted to give Yi Feng a prison order. There is a trace of the martial spirit imprint of the Dharma Venerable in the prison order. In the face of opponents who are stronger than themselves, God Prison will use prison orders. The prison suppression order has the ability to suppress all things, and it is even rumored that if the Dharma Venerable personally activates it, even hell can suppress it. The purpose of the prison suppression order given by Dharma Venerable could not be more obvious: to protect Yi Feng. Before changing it, Qin Lai would feel that Yi Feng had made a lot of money. It is indeed earned. After all, if you are not a person from the prison, you are not eligible for a prison order. Moreover, even people from the divine prison can only get it from the prison master and above. For an outsider, such a precedent is the first time in the world. Although there are not many people in divine prison, they are all elites. The most basic level of divine guards also have diamond level cultivation. However, even they are not qualified to have a prison order. But with Shi Shui and Dr. Zuyu in front of him, Qin Lai felt a little speechless. However, Qin Lai is not a person of ink. After speaking, Qin Lai looked at Yi Feng. This is the protagonist of today, and his attitude is the most important. Yu Qingyan and the others were not surprised. They roughly guessed. Yi Feng's eyes lit up. After all, since the 10,000 beast cult came once, there must be a second time. Even the people of the 10,000 beast sect may have already discussed how to assassinate themselves. With this prison order, Yi Feng will be safe and sound in the short term. Yi Feng has no reason to refuse. Thighs, 3 thighs are stretched out. Do not hug, white, do not hug. With the system in hand, the clock of time and the sword of nothingness, Yi Feng lacks everything. The most missing thing is time. The prison order can be activated 3 times at a critical moment, and 3 lives are enough for him. After a few chats, a few people left. No extra requirements and nothing else to say. Evening, Yi Feng took out 30,000 of his savings and exchanged 30 low-quality soul crystals. So far, Yi Feng has only 10,000 left for daily life. If there is no special training camp, I really dare not be so generous. Yi Feng laughed at himself. The training camp lasts for half a month. During this period, as long as you perform well, you can get a lot of rewards. After one pass, 30 low-grade soul crystals turned into 300 martial soul points. In addition to the original 200, the spirit points reached as many as 500. Bronze 1 star to 2 star requires 100 spirit points. From 2 stars to 3 stars, it is 200 martial arts points. In other words, Yi Feng could instantly increase his strength to 3-star bronze and still have 200 martial soul points left. After thinking for a while, Yi Feng was not in a hurry to add more points. With his current strength, even in the special training camp where experts are like clouds, he is still the top group. Wait until you go to the special training camp, or break through when you encounter other dangerous things. At that time, you can still beat the opponent with a rough hand. Now that we have 2 spirit rings, the top priority is to upgrade to silver as soon as possible. Yi Feng murmured while looking at the attached spirit bones in the system space. Before he left, Dr. Shi Shui sent him a voice transmission and told him about the power of the attached spirit bone. The basic ability is flying. In addition, its accompanying sole ability is teleportation. Flying was expected by Yi Fang. After all, the Void Dragon Eagle is soaring in the sky and space. And this teleportation is awesome. Whether it is life-saving or chasing the enemy, it is a magical skill. Therefore, improving the strength has become the most urgent goal. Fortunately, the special training camp will start tomorrow. The next morning, the second middle school auditorium. When Yi Fang came to the auditorium, several eyes looked over at the same time. It was Lin Hao and Zhou Yu. Since Yi Fang's awakening, the news about Yi Fang has been passed on in No. 2 Middle School. As the strongest person in the second middle school, Lin Hao naturally pays great attention. Q. Then a familiar voice sounded. Xiao Yan. Yi Fang smiled and nodded. Xiao Yan's martial spirit can be ranked in the top 30 in the element category, and his innate spirit power is 8. On talent is eligible to participate in this special training camp. Except for Xiao Yan, the others Yi Fang have only seen, but are not familiar with. According to previous years, there were 300 people in the special training camp. 10 top high schools in the number 1 and number 2 middle schools each have 10 students. Another 100 high schools add up to 200 people. Last year, the special training camp was in the number 1 affiliated high school of the imperial capital, and this year it was in the number 2 high school affiliated to the magic capital. In the crowd, Wu Min, with a strong body, suddenly raised his head and looked at Yi Fang. After receiving the order, Wu Min was excited and didn't fall asleep all night. This is his perfect opportunity to make merit. According to the meaning of the master, when everyone goes to the magic capital, there will be 2 beast blood killers to cooperate with him. The beast blood killer is a top killer carefully cultivated by the 10,000 beast sect. Most of their strengths are at the peak of gold and diamond. It is the heart and soul of 10,000 beasts. The 2 beast blood killers, the diamond level was responsible for entangling Feng Mangong, and the golden pinnacle cooperated with him. Such combinations are generally aimed at diamond level soul masters. In Wu Min's opinion, Yi Fang was proud enough to die in their hands. Brother Fang, I'm a little nervous. Xiao Yan whispered to Yi Fang. 8 out of 10 people sent by No. 2 middle school were awakened at the age of 16. The only exceptions are Yi Fang and Xiao Yan. No wonder Xiao Yan was nervous. Lin Hao and the others didn't talk about it. The weakest people here are all 5-star bronze. Yi Fang patted Xiao Yan on the shoulder. What are you afraid of? Don't you bully the poor boy. Cough cough. Xiao Yan blushed. It was just what he said to Tang San at the time, but Yi Fang still remembered it. Seeing Yi Fang, who looked indifferent and not at all frightened, Xiao Yan was relieved. He couldn't help saying, "Fortunately, Brother Fang is here." Not long after, Zhang Duoer, who was second only to Lin Hao in the second middle school, came to the hall. Next to Zhang Duoer is her good friend Hu Yuru. Hu Yuru is in the top 5 in the second middle school. The appearance of the two is extremely high and immediately attracted the attention of Lin Hao, including Lin Hao. The two have different temperaments. Hu Yuru has long wavy hair, giving people a hot feeling. And Zhang Duoer looks much cuter, with a slightly baby fat face and a pair of smart eyes. As soon as the two entered the hall, they looked around. Then his eyes fell on Yi Fang. Zhang Duoer stared at Yi Fang curiously. And Hu Yuru's beautiful eyes showed a hint of provocation. Originally, number 2 high school respected them, but suddenly there was a Yi Fang who completely crushed them. Anyone can't help but want to compare. Old God Yi Fang glanced at him, and then focused on the position below his neck for a while. This frivolous move made Hu Yuru's pretty face blushed. Immediately, she did not show weakness and widened her beautiful eyes, as if she was saying that you were coming. Yi Fang smiled and did not speak. Whether it's Bai Moore or Hu Yuru, the names are all good. Brother Hao, do you want to kill that kid's majesty? Zhou Yu next to Lin Hao laughed. Lin Hao heard the words and said, if you are a man, you should wait for him to be at your same level. Although Lin Hao was a little jealous in his heart, he wouldn't disdain to bully the small. Zhou Yu disagreed. When I am at the same level as him, I will be crushed. As long as you know. Lin Hao said. He started 2 years later than us, which is our advantage. In addition, he represents No. 2 middle school just like us, and his family should not fight infighting. I have to say, as the first person in the second middle school, Lin Hao does have a strong demeanor. Zhou Yu pouted, although he didn't agree, he didn't refute it. Duoer, have you broken through? At this time, Lin Hao suddenly looked a little surprised. Zhang Duoer is a bronze 9-star, slightly weaker than herself. But after careful observation just now, I found that Zhang Duoer's breath was not weaker than her own. Zhang Duoer sighed. Lin Hao, our competition has just begun. Ha ha. Lin Hao smiled. Zhang Duoer means that there are opportunities in the special training camp. Cough cough. At this moment, Feng Mangong came with his hands behind his back. Following Feng Mangong was Lu Qi, the Dean of Education. Well, it seems that everyone is very early. Feng Mangong smiled and said, if that's the case, let's go. With Yi Feng here this year, Feng Mangong is in a good mood. As a high-profile special training camp, the specifications have been relatively high over the years. After arriving at the school gate, a small plane driven by spirit power came into view. Seeing this, Xiao Yan widened his eyes and said, a charter flight. He and Yi Feng were both participating for the first time, so they felt very new. It's not entirely a charter flight. We first go to the airport to meet them at number 1 middle school. Lu Qi explained. Then go to the magic capital together. After saying this, Yi Feng understood. After all, it is a long way from here to the international airport, and it takes at least 2 hours to take the subway. After the plane took off, the second center quickly zoomed out. It didn't take a while to reach the clouds. At this time, Wu Min's heart beat faster and faster. He looked at the layers of white clouds and silently estimated the time in his heart. 10 minutes later, Yi Feng suddenly looked out the window. Hey, someone. Xiao Yan, who was beside him, followed him and said in surprise. As soon as these words came out, Feng Mangong was suddenly stunned. Not good. According to the rules, flying is not allowed in the imperial capital. This is naturally to prevent someone from attacking. The next moment, Feng Mangong's momentum skyrocketed. Hoo-hoo. In the blink of an eye, Feng Mangong appeared outside the plane. What happened? This change immediately attracted everyone's attention. Lin Hao and the others frowned slightly. Someone is here. Isn't there a no-fly order in imperial capital? Who is so afraid of death? Isn't it someone from the 10,000 Beast cult? The crowd became nervous. At this moment, a figure in black quickly approached Feng Mangong. Then I heard Feng Mangong's murderous roar, Beast Blood Killer. Courting death. Before he finished speaking, a terrifying strong wind blew. The layers of white clouds dissipated quickly under the strong wind. No, it's a Beast Blood Killer. In the plane, Lu Qi's face changed slightly, and his spirit was immediately possessed. Jia, Principal Feng, let's talk. A masked man in black stood 5 meters in front of Feng Mangong. The Beast Blood Killer's eyes were blood red and looked a bit oozing. Facing the wind full of bows from the Diamond 7 Stars, the man in black was not afraid at all. Instead, there was a hint of amusement in his eyes. Feng Mangong's eyes flickered with cold light. You shouldn't be the only one. Although the opponent's strength is not weaker than himself, it would be wishful thinking to kill Yi Feng by himself. At the moment when the Beast Blood Killer appeared, Feng Mangong wanted to understand. The only person who can make the Myriad Beast cult so inspiring is Yi Feng. The Myriad Beast sect has secretly killed many human geniuses over the years. But most of them are low-level soul masters, and there are very few diamond-level ones. The man in black nodded. Of course I'm not the only one. Feng Mangong froze for a moment and suddenly his face changed. Lu Qi, be careful. Lu Qi had already possessed his martial spirit, and when he heard the words, his hands that turned into branches suddenly twitched to one side. Snapped. Under Lu Qi's hard blow, there was a sonic boom in the air. A mass of blood light fluttered to avoid a blow, and then the blood light squirmed and turned into another Beast Blood Killer. Golden 7 Stars. Lu Qi's pupils shrank and his expression instantly became extremely solemn. Lu Qi is only a golden 6 star, and the opponent in front of him is much stronger than him. Seeing this scene, the expressions of everyone who had retreated to the tail of the plane sank. Yi Feng secretly mobilized his soul power to be ready to possess his spirit at any time. He knew that since the Myriad Beast's religion attacked and killed him, there might be more than 2 of them. Feng Mangong and Lu Qi also thought of this. While looking at their opponents, the two of them released their mental power to search for possible powerful enemies. The Diamond 7-star killer smiled. Immediately, a humming sound was heard. 4 spirit rings, yellow, 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 and purple, emerged from below one's feet. Fang Mangong snorted coldly, and a more luxurious spirit ring ratio appeared. Yellow, yellow, purple, purple. When the 4 spirit rings appeared one after another, Fang Mangong's aura reached its peak. At the same time, Lu Qi and the killer of Jin Kixing summoned the spirit rings at the same time. Both are 3 yellow match. Kill. After mobilizing their spirit rings, the 4 of them rushed towards each other without any hesitation. In the crowd, Xiao Yan and others were extremely nervous. Even Lin Hao is like this. But to Yifeng's surprise, Zhang Duer's expression was flat and didn't seem to be worried. Just when everyone thought a peak match was about to begin. Call out. The golden 7-star killer split into 2 instantly, and one of them killed Lu Qi. The other one rushed towards Yifeng. Not good. Fang Mangong and Lu Qi's faces changed dramatically. They didn't expect that this killer even has the ability to clone. Gaga, Principal Feng must be in a bad mood watching your most proud student die here, right? The Diamond 7-star killer taunted while using his soul skills. This scene happened so fast. When the clone rushed in front of Yifeng, Lin Hao and the others hadn't reacted. Kid, die. The clone made a strange cry, and the big bloody hand grabbed Yifeng's neck fiercely. There was a strange color in Yifeng's eyes, and a purple soul ring appeared under his feet. Buzz. Immediately with Yifeng as the center, the time within 10 meters quickly solidified. And the clone suddenly found that the speed of his charge was much reduced. What? Shocked in the mind and body. This is too dreamy. Although the avatar only has 1 gold star, but it is not controlled by it. The effect of time freezing on the clone has been greatly reduced, but even so, the speed of the clone has become much slower. And Wu Minmang, who was just about to shoot. In their plan, the clone was responsible for attracting Yifeng and letting Yifeng cast time to freeze. Taking advantage of this time, Wu Min shot. It's a perfect plan, impossible to fail. Under the influence of time freezing, the avatar's thinking also slowed down a lot. He gave Wu Min a vicious look. Wu Min reacted and suddenly took out a dagger. This is a highly poisonous dagger that is extremely sharp. In order to prevent the plan from changing, Wu Min did not use spirit possession, because it would waste 1 second. Although he didn't know why Yifeng's time freezing could affect No. 39. But now is clearly not the time to ponder. Yifeng has already taken control of number 39, so now is my chance to make merit. I will. Wu Min said excitedly. At this time, Wu Min didn't realize that he was frozen by time. The time mysterious tortoise soul ring can be used on 3 people at the same time after being upgraded to 1,000 years. In an instant, killer number 39 and Wu Min were affected at the same time. Taking advantage of this short interval, Yifeng retreated and escaped the attack range of number 39. Immediately, the Void God Sword appeared in response. Immediately, ripples appeared in the surrounding space. Yifeng looked indifferent and waved the invisible sword of nothingness. PFF'd. Wu Min was directly cut in half. And number 39 is much stronger, this knife did not cause any damage to him. Yifeng immediately gave up number 39 upon seeing this. This scene happened so fast that Fang Mangong and Lu Qi shuddered as if they were electrocuted. Immediately, the two were ecstatic. Director Lu. Yifeng shouted. Lu Qi seemed to understand what Yifeng was going to do, and most of the soul power in his body instantly disappeared. Time freezes. The purple soul ring lights up again. At this time, the avatar of number 39 was still frozen in time. It's just that he is not still, but is struggling to turn around and kill Yifeng. The killer of the Diamond 7 stars and number 39 were struck like 5 thunders, with a deep look of horror in their eyes. Failed. Did a well-planned attack fail? Impossible, this guy's soul ability cannot possibly affect No. 39. Chapter 11. As the top beast blood killer, Yan Zhan has never felt so terrified as he is today. That Yifeng is only a bronze star. How could his soul skill actually affect a gold-level soul master? Is the time clock so terrible? 39 has been completely panicked. The attack failed, and this guy's martial spirit is even more heaven-defying than he imagined. Just as he was about to leave, number 39 found that his figure was a little slower. Lu Qi was stunned when he saw this scene. Immediately, without giving number 39 any evasion, the third spirit ring skill, Fatal Binding, was activated. One branch after another wraps number 39 firmly. The barbs on the branches sank into the skin, and the poison began to permeate. The attack speed of Fatal Binding is not fast, but as long as it hits, even a soul master who is 1 star stronger than himself will die. Although Yi Fang's time freezing only had an effect on No 39's body for less than 1 second. But this time is enough for Lu Qi and the others. Puff. Yan Zhan, who was distracted from fighting outside the plane, sank when he saw that number 39 was killed. Immediately, his thigh was cut off by the whirlwind blade full of wind. What? Yan Zhan screamed. In just a few seconds, the battle was turned upside down. Lin Hao and the others gathered together and stared at all this in a stunned manner. As proud as Lin Hao, he was only envious before, and did not take Yi Feng as a threat. But now, Wu Min of Bronze 8 star died so simply. That's fine, even gold-level soul masters can be affected. Incredible. Thriller. Gudong. Lin Hao looked at Yi Feng with awe and happiness. Fortunately, he didn't embarrass Yi Feng before. Otherwise. Thinking of this, Lin Hao's heart trembled. As for Zhou Yu, he almost shivered. He actually wanted to give Yi Feng a slap in the face. Really tired of living. Is this the time clock? Zhang Duer was also shocked. As a member of the Zhang family, she is knowledgeable and does not care about any genius. But today was taught a lesson by Yi Feng. He seems to be only 1 star in bronze. Hu Yuru, who was on the side, opened her mouth slightly and murmured. As soon as this statement came out, everyone felt that the temperature around them dropped a lot. 1 star is already so defiant, what if it is at the same level as them? How, brother How, I haven't been very obvious before, have I? Zhou Yu's face turned pale and he didn't dare to look at Yi Feng anymore. Lin Hao. Haha, call. Yi Feng let out a sigh of relief when number 39 and Yan Zhan died. Time freezing consumes a lot of soul power. But the effect made him very satisfied. Yi Feng estimated that if he did his best, killing Baiyan in the early stage should be very easy. It is a pity that Yi Feng didn't have the opportunity to make up for number 39 just now. Otherwise, you should be able to get a lot of martial arts points. However, Wu Min killed him, and the system rewarded him with 110 martial soul points. After returning to the plane, Feng Mangong looked around. Fortunately, the plane is made of special materials. In addition, number 39 was killed before he had time to attack. Yi Feng, are you all right? Feng Mangong said with concern. Yi Feng was feeling distressed at the Wuhun point. Hearing the words, he said, if only Director Lu would kill him more slowly. When this statement came out, the crowd was confused. With this lesson, Lu Qi is obviously a lot more vigilant. Lu Qi whispered, Principal, do you want to check one by one? Need not. Feng Mangong sneered. Second, it should be gone. Zhou Ping before, Wu Min now. The 10,000 Beasts religion can put 2 dark suns here, which is very unexpected. After all, number 2 middle school was just a high school, and there was nothing worth paying attention to before Yi Feng. And no newcomers have come in these days. The imperial capital is very large, and the forces of all parties are intricate and masters like clouds. Those places are the focus of the 10,000 Beasts religion. The next journey was much smoother. Arrive at the airport and get off the plane. A group of people greeted them from a distance. The first person was a gray-haired man. As soon as I saw Feng Mangong, I was inexplicably happy. Principal Feng has not seen you for a long time. Your No. 2 middle school is doing well this year. This is Chu Yunsheng, the principal of No. 1 middle school. Like Feng Mangong, he is a diamond 7 star. It must be unhappy to change to the windful of bows in previous years, and then all kinds of hatred. But this year, the wind is full of bows. It's not bad, but it's not as good as your first middle school. Feng Mangong said with a smile and looked at GTN behind Chu Yunsheng. GTN is the first person in a middle school. Its strength is stronger than Lin Hao. But with Feng Mangong's eyesight, he could see at once that GTN was already 1 star of silver. Chu Yunsheng was stunned by Feng Mangong's words. He vaguely felt that this product was not normal today, but he didn't know what went wrong. Although Yi Fang's story was rumored in the second middle school, Dijing is too big, so there are very few people who really know about it. Behind Feng Mangong, Lin Hao and Zhang Duer looked up at GTN at the same time. GTN is tall and slender, with obvious muscular lines. Not the kind of bodybuilder, but restrained, well-proportioned and extremely explosive. GTN also looked at Lin Hao, and immediately chuckled and didn't care. As a member of the three great families, his goal was not Lin Hao. Lin Hao didn't have the slightest threat, but Zhang Duer was worth noting. Yi Feng glanced at it and found that the overall level of the first middle school was indeed better than that of the second middle school. But the difference is not big, very small. This shows that in addition to myself, the second middle school is generally good this year. Feng Mangong and Chu Yunsheng smiled at each other, and they all saw the electric light in each other's eyes. After the silent confrontation, Chu Yunsheng laughed. Principal Feng, let's go. Walk around. After flying for 8 hours, the large plane controlled by soul power finally arrived at the magic capital. This plane is 5 times faster than the previous life. From this, it can also be seen that the Earth in this world is about 20 times larger than that in the previous life. The magic capital is very different from the previous life. However, it is more prosperous and has more high-rise buildings. And there are several super skyscrapers of thousands of meters. Although there are also Taijing, but the overall number of skyscrapers is slightly less. Immediately after getting off the plane, a man in the uniform of the staff of the Magic University came. Principal Li, Feng Mangong and Chu Yunsheng arched hand in hand. 2 principals, it's been a lot of hard work. Li Ming said politely and looked at Yi Feng and others. He is the principal of the first affiliated middle school of Modu University. As both the host and the competitor, it is natural to observe and observe more. After watching it for a while, Li Ming was secretly shocked. Dijing was really good this year. GTN didn't say anything. Lin Hao and Zhang Duer were not weak at all. But, it's a little bit worse than the monsters in their school. Immediately, the corners of Li Ming's mouth rose slightly. This action could not escape the eyes of Feng Mangong and the 2 of them. Chu Yunsheng coughed lightly. Principal Li, could it be that Zuo Chohan made a breakthrough? Zuo Chohan is the most powerful in Demon City number 1. Feng Mangong and Chu Yunsheng had both paid attention before. Zuo Chohan and GTN had the same strength. But looking at Li Ming's complacent look, it's obviously a bit weird. Cough cough, this way please, this way please. Li Ming didn't say much. 1 hour later, the group came to the number 1 middle school attached to the magic capital. The 2 teachers greeted him. After introducing each other, Li Ming said, Mr. Zhu, take the students to the gymnasium to rest first. 2 principals, let's go and have 2 drinks. Chu Yunsheng and Feng Mangong looked at each other. The latter looked indifferent, while Chu Yunsheng smiled. It's part of a training camp, and each city's high school has its own room. And let everyone get together not to rest, but to choose the captain. This is not only to set goals to make everyone work harder, but also to prepare for subsequent collaborative training. Many projects in the special training camp need to be based on cities. Under the leadership of Zhu Meng, Yi Feng and others came to the Modu No. 1 middle school stadium. There are 20 small houses in the huge stadium. The houses are built with the most common composite panels and are obviously temporary. Classmates, this is your resting place. Zhu Meng looked at everyone and smiled. The next thing you have to do is to choose a captain. Team leader, Xiao Yan was stunned for a moment. Didn't he come to rest? It's a pity that Zhu Meng didn't explain and left after saying this. The group entered the room. Squeak. The door seems to have sensed and closed automatically. Except for Yi Feng and Xiao Yan, the others were not surprised. Immediately 20 people, you look at me, I look at you. After a while, GTN was the first to speak. Let's not delay the next thing. Lin Hao, Zhang Duer, who will come first? There is an extremely strong confidence in the words. The other 9 people in No. 1 middle school did not speak. Apparently it was headed by GTN. After GTN finished speaking, he looked at Lin Hao and Zhang Duer lightly. According to the rules of the special training camp in previous years, the high school representatives from each city will have a fight. Whoever wins becomes the captain. The captain's welfare is very good, and he can get more attention. So if you have the strength, you will fight for it. Just when GTN thought that Lin Hao would appear, an unexpected situation occurred. Lin Hao looked back at Yi Feng with a hint of questioning in his eyes. This scene made everyone in the middle stunned. What does it mean? GTN suddenly looked at Yi Feng. Seeing that Yi Feng didn't speak, Lin Hao explained, the special training camp is based on cities. Become the captain and receive more resources every day. Besides, in all kinds of training, if you do well, the captain can also get extra rewards. And at the end of the special training camp, each captain can receive more rewards. Lin Hao knew that Yi Feng had never participated, so he explained patiently. At first Yi Feng didn't think so, but then his eyes became brighter and brighter. Didn't he come here to earn martial arts points? Those resources can be exchanged for soul crystals. After explaining, Lin Hao looked at Yi Feng again. He did so, on the one hand, to recognize Yi Feng's strength. On the other hand, I also want to see Yi Feng's actual combat ability. After all, although he had controlled the beast blood killer before, it would be in vain if he didn't have the corresponding attack ability. The sword of nothingness is strong, and it is impossible for Yi Feng to exert his current strength. In that case, I'll come. Yi Feng stepped forward with some anticipation. Although GTN and others expected it just now, otherwise Lin Hao would not have to explain so much. But Yi Feng's real stand-up still surprised GTN. He had to look at Yi Feng again. After examining it for a while, he said, "Classmate, I won't keep it." "Come on." Yi Feng nodded. GTN didn't say much, and immediately possessed his spirit. Roar! A loud dragon roar came from GTN's mouth. The next moment, a 10-meter-long golden dragon phantom appeared behind GTN. This is the inheritance of the G family's martial soul, the purple electric red golden dragon. Lin Hao explained. The G family is one of the 3 major families in China, with a long history and a long heritage. In terms of strength, it may be better than a top-level institution like Beijing University, but it is also much stronger than an average university. And Zidian Chijinlong is an extremely powerful beast martial spirit. Ranked 9th on the beast martial arts list. Yi Feng nodded, his mind was possessed by his martial spirit. Clang! The crisp and grand bell rang immediately resounded in everyone's mind. The next moment GTN's expression changed. A clock with vicissitudes and vastness appeared behind Yi Feng. The hour, minute, and second hands on the clock are clearly visible. At the moment when the divine clock of light appeared, GTN only felt incomparably small. And the momentum exuded by the time clock is so powerful that it doesn't even mean to resist. Not only GTN, but everyone's expressions changed. Time clock. There was a hint of horror in GTN's eyes. This is impossible. The time clock has been extinct for thousands of years, so it is impossible for such a peerless martial spirit to appear. The rest of the school looked like they had seen a ghost. How funny it was. Is this the time clock? It seems so. What's the origin of this guy? This is the first martial soul, the power to control time. Hasn't the time clock disappeared? Why still? No one answered their questions. Lin Hao and other students from number 2 middle school even felt a little gloomy. When Lin Hao got the news, he was no better than GTN, and he was extremely shocked. Yi Feng didn't answer GTN's words. Because he found that GTN's purple electric red gold dragon martial soul seemed to be blurred at the moment. This should be due to the suppression of martial arts, right? No, although you have a time clock, you should have just woken up. GTN suddenly reacted. If it is 16 awakening, then he must know. Moreover, those who possess the spirit of the god of time and clock cannot be silent for 2 years without anyone knowing. Thinking of this, GTN felt relieved. He had to admit, he was jealous. Even if he owns the purple electric red gold dragon, he is soured by Yi Feng's time clock. As an outstanding member of the G family, GTN knows more. The time clock has the ability to control life and death. It is as small as resurrecting a person or as big as controlling the flow of time in the entire world. The time clock can do it. This is a god-level martial spirit. In front of the clock of time, the sword of nothingness and the third-ranked one can be compared with it. Any other martial spirit appears humble and insignificant. Since you just woke up, it should only be 1 bronze star. Speaking of this, GTN breathed a sigh of relief, not even a bronze star. As the super genius of the G family and the first person in the first middle school, he didn't want to try the taste of failure. It is only a bronze star, even if there is a time clock, I can easily defeat it. And time-type soul beasts are very rare, this guy may not be able to attach a soul ring. After hearing GTN's words, Lin Hao and the others suddenly felt pity. This kid, I'm afraid he didn't know that Yi Feng also had a second-ranked nihilistic sword, right? Compassion and some expectation at the same time. Even Lin Hao was a little afraid of GTN's power. Seeing the genius of the G family shriveled is better than breaking through. The other middle school students also reacted, with surprise and curiosity in their hearts. Come on, stop the ink. Yi Feng was a little impatient waiting. GTN was stunned for a moment, how could he be so upset when these words were put on him? Immediately, GTN rushed over without using his soul skills. PFF'd. Seeing this, Lin Hao couldn't help laughing and said, GTN, I advise you to use your soul skills, otherwise it will be ugly. GTN raised his brows when he said this. After stopping opposite Yi Feng, GTN gave Yi Feng a deep look. Have you attached a soul ring? Yi Feng nodded. GTN stopped talking. Buzz. The second spirit ring emerged directly from under his feet. The deep yellow light means that this is nearly 1,000 years old. Zidian Chijinlong roared, and GTN's right hand turned into a claw covered with dragon scales and rushed towards Yi Feng. Seeing this scene, Yi Feng also moved. Buzz. Violet light filled the audience. The instant light solidification is activated. In the eyes of everyone, GTN's speed slowed down at a speed visible to the naked eye. It took about 0.5 seconds to move from high speed to standing still. And the eyes of the first-class Tianzhao were about to protrude. Millennium Soul Ring. Everyone has an unreal feeling. The first spirit ring is 1,000 years. Or, is this guy gold rank? No, it can't be gold, then there's no need to go to training camp. This is impossible. Under the freezing of time, GTN's thinking also became extremely slow. After these 4 words, GTN had no idea. His thinking has been completely solidified. At this moment, GTN is like a statue. At this point, the results speak for themselves. Yi Feng took back the time clock slowly. The Tianzhao of number 1 middle school were all stunned when they saw this. Did they stop fighting? Now that GTN is under control, he should take the opportunity to attack. But then everyone opened their mouths. There were ripples in the surrounding space, and Yi Feng had a sword condensed from space in his hand. The moment the Void God sword appeared, an extremely fierce momentum spread instantly. Everyone including Lin Hao closed their eyes subconsciously. At this moment, they all have a feeling of sweating. Void God sword. Quila, the second strongest in the first middle school, almost fainted. The first martial soul time clock. Second martial soul Void God sword. This guy, who is it? Even though Lin Hao and the others had already seen it, they were still a little shocked at this moment. Zhang Duer's big bright eyes were full of brilliance, and she didn't know what she was thinking. Under everyone's attention, the god of nothingness stabbed out gently. Yi Feng didn't use his soul skills. If he used the space blade, this kid would definitely die. Call out. The extremely sharp sword of nothingness travels through space. Like an invisible bullet, it only brought up a handsome streamlined body. Yi Feng didn't want GTN's life. It didn't even hurt GTN. The sword of nothingness stopped 3 centimeters away from GTN's forehead. Immediately, a strand of GTN's bangs fell lightly. Several of the hairs touched the Void God sword, and the few hairs were immediately cut off by the sharp Void God sword. The eyelids of Lin Hao, Zhang Duoer and others watching this scene jumped. Previously on the plane, the Void God sword did not harm the beast blood killer. So much so that both of them have the illusion that the Void God sword is not powerful. This is also because the time clock is so dazzling. As the most powerful weapon spirit in history and the second existence on the martial arts list, how could the sword of nothingness not be so powerful? This weapon spirit that controls space ability is known as a big killer that can sever the world with one blade. Even though Yi Feng didn't use his soul power when he swung the knife just now. Even though the godless sword did not touch GTN's hair. However, he still cut off a few strands of GTN's hair. Who wouldn't be afraid of such a weapon spirit? Quila and other Tianzhao's round eyes stared in shock. The Void God Sword is completely condensed from space. It is difficult to see the trajectory when this spirit attacks. Naturally, it is impossible to predict accurately. In addition, the attack of the Void God Blade is both physical and spatial. Even a spirit master stronger than Yifeng can't defend against it. When Yifeng released the time freezing on GTN, GTN didn't react, but looked at Yifeng in surprise. GTN's thinking was completely solidified just now, and he was still stuck in the impression that Yifeng only used the time god Zhang Wuhun. But the next moment GTN's handsome face suddenly trembled. Immediately, he was horrified to find that the handsome bangs were gone. Not only that, Yifeng's right hand is empty. Taking a closer look, a slender battle knife slightly curved than the tang knife was in his hand. The blade is completely transparent, with only the twisted space forming an outline. Seeing this scene, GTN became even more restless. Void God Sword. After saying that, GTN suddenly smiled bitterly. Lost completely. Facing the one-star bronze Yifeng, he didn't even have the ability to resist. The wry smile is followed by shock. The clock of time, the sword of nothingness, and the top two in the martial arts list are all in this hand. Compared with Yifeng, who in the world dares to say that he is a genius? I can't do it myself. Neither can Li Fengxian's evildoers. Even the one from the Ji family can't do it. GTN looked at Yifeng with a complicated look. In front of Yifeng, all the geniuses will be eclipsed. Behind Yifeng, Zhou Yu and others were both proud and emotional. With Yifeng there, the second middle school will stabilize the first middle school. But at the same time, I have to sigh, it may be a tragedy to be born in the same era as Yifeng. Everyone thought that Yifeng started 2 years later than them. These 2 years will be an insurmountable gulf. After all, those who can awaken at the age of 16 basically have a deep background. The 2-year gap is simply impossible to bridge. However, in Yifeng, there is no gap. With 2 top-level super martial arts, 2 years is nothing. I lost. GTN's expression immediately returned to normal, as if there was no competition yet. But deep in his eyes, there was a hint of helplessness and hope. The captain of their imperial capital has been selected, and the arrogance of other cities will be uncomfortable next. Yifeng looked around the audience, mainly to Yizhang's side. Is there anyone else coming? As soon as these words came out, Quila and the others shook their heads like a rattle. Just kidding that even GTN lost so easily, wouldn't they be humiliating themselves by going? What's more, if this makes Yifeng unhappy, I'm afraid it won't just lose a few hairs like GTN. So far, Yifeng has officially become the captain of Dijing. This guy. In the crowd, Zhang Duer's big eyes were bright. Maybe even my brother is not his opponent, right? Brother Fang is too strong. Xiao Yan murmured, Brother Fang should be the first person in this special training camp, right? No one refuted this statement. GTN is already a ceiling. And Yifeng can crush GTN, so the first is natural. Whoa. At this time, the surrounding composite panel walls suddenly began to fall. Yifeng looked around. The composite panel wall was submerged into the ground. Not only them here, the restrooms of other schools also declined at the same time. What happened? Lin Hao and the others were all curious. In previous years, after the captain was selected, everyone would rest for half a day, and then start training in the afternoon. Could something have changed this year? When all the composite boards were hidden to the ground, the geniuses from other schools were just as wide-eyed as Taikyo's side. 300 people looked at each other in unexpected circumstances. Boom! Suddenly the spotlight above came on. Then dozens of people came from the entrance. In addition to the principals of their respective schools, there are also the branch deans of Modu University and a middle-aged man in fiery red armor. Several branch deans were led by the armored man. Under the surprise of everyone, the middle-aged man looked around the audience and said, Hello, classmates, I am Wang Tu, the town general of the Suzaku Legion's Demon Capital Division. Now start the first round of assessment. As soon as Wang Tu finished speaking, the audience was in an uproar. Wang Tu's 2 sentences contained too much information. First of all, the special training camps in previous years were all in charge of the sub-deans of Modu University. But this year seems to have become the King Tu of the Vermilion Bird Legion. As we all know, the Suzaku Legion is a legion built by Suzaku, one of the 3 pillars of the human race. Everyone in it is a battle-hardened warrior who has gone through countless trials of life and death. As a town general, Wang Tu has experienced countless battles. Wang Tu has a name, the Blood Slaughter Town General. It is said that there are as many as 100,000 soul beasts who died under Wang Tu's hands. Among them, there are also many master-level soul beasts. This is an iron-blooded general who makes the soul beasts terrified. And the long-term life and death struggle filled Wang Tu with blood and a strong murderous aura that could not be dissipated. Although Wang Tu had restrained himself, the smell of blood and murderous aura still made many people uncomfortable. That's fine, as soon as the key comes, is the assessment. What is the purpose? Everyone looked blank. And Fang Mangong and the other principals seemed to already know, and they all look at their students expectantly. Wang Tu frowned slightly when he saw the scene being noisy. With this frown, the murderous aura that had been trained on the battlefield erupted instantly. Boom! A scarlet shock wave enveloped everyone. The poor heart immediately turned pale and couldn't help retching. Even Ji Tian and Lin Hao felt a little uncomfortable. On the contrary, Yi Feng's expression was indifferent and unaffected. This scene was instantly captured by Wang Tu, and he couldn't help but glance at Yi Feng. After everyone quieted down, the dean of the Department of Botany of Modu University next to Wang Tu said, General Wang Zhen will be in charge of this year's special training camp. On the one hand, this assessment is to determine benefits and benefits based on assessment performance. On the other hand, it will also be linked to your subsequent training content. As soon as this statement came out, someone asked, is the welfare treatment of President Qi different this year from previous years? In previous years, only the captains of high school in each city had higher welfare, and everyone else was on the same level. Certainly, Qi Chen said, the better your grades, the more soul crystals you can get every day. In addition, the facilities in the dormitory are not at the same level at all. After hearing Qi Chen's words, everyone fell silent. Immediately, there was a trace of war in everyone's eyes. It's the top talent that can come here. Placed in the city and school are sought after and admired. Geniuses have their own pride. The content of the assessment is very simple, coercive. Wang Tu looked around the audience with a malicious smile. Whoever can bear my pressure for longer will win. Of course, you can use martial spirit and spirit skills. After Wang Tu finished speaking, everyone looked strange. This test method is unheard of. Interesting. Yi Feng nodded slightly. After Wang Tu died, many principals looked forward to it. They would love to see how their geniuses fare. The captains of each school have been selected before, but they do not know the result. Chu Yunsheng looked at Feng Mangong and said, Principal Feng, why don't we look at whose students last longer? Feng Mangong nodded and said nothing. If it is a competition between students, he is very confident in Yi Feng. But coercion is not easy to say. After all, Yi Feng is only a bronze star, and he has basically never experienced actual combat. But this kind of assessment was determined by the high level, and he was unable to change it. Li Ming, the principal of the first middle school affiliated to the magic capital, was the most calm. He has full confidence in his students. Buzz. When Wang Tu thought about it, a mighty aura like a mountain instantly enveloped the 300 students. Just a face-to-face, Xiao Yan groaned, his legs bent and he almost fell to his knees. Yi Feng's expression is also condensed, the pressure is so strong. It is also mixed with a strong bloody smell, and the killing intent that makes the scalp numb. This is definitely the executioner who came out of the mountain of corpses and blood. When Wang Tu's coercion was released, everyone felt great pressure. Many people turned pale. Compared to this time, the previous scarlet shockwave was nothing short of pediatric. Vomit. Some female classmates couldn't help but start to retching. Humph. Wang Tu snorted coldly. As a soldier, he didn't have the habit of pity and cherish jade. In the cruel soul beast battlefield, no matter what gender you are, as long as it is a human soul beast, it will not be spared. And it was crueler and bloodier there than it is now. With this cold hum, the pressure released by Wang Tu directly increased by 2 times. PFF'd. Suddenly, a large number of students knelt on the ground. After that, everyone was possessed by martial spirits. All kinds of martial spirits radiated colorful rays of light, and everyone's pressure was relieved a lot. On the other hand, Yi Feng, GTN and others were relatively calm and did not release their martial spirits. On the west side of the stadium, a handsome white-haired young man with a cold and stern expression was not affected by the coercion. The most striking thing is his blue eyes. It was as if it was covered with ice, and just by looking at it, the surrounding temperature dropped a lot. Yi Feng, that is Zuo Chohan from the number 1 middle school attached to the devil capital. Lin Hao's condition was also very good, and he noticed that Yi Feng looked around and whispered. The Zuoqiu family, the Ji family and the Zhang family are the three major families of the human race. Each has a long history and can be called a living history book. The three participating in this special training camp are Zuo Chohan, GTN and Zhang Duoer. Zhang Duoer is relatively unremarkable, while GTN and Zuo Chohan are the most noticeable. After a minute, Wang Tu saw that someone had given up completely and was lying on the ground with disdain. Immediately, more terrifying coercion than before came. Ow! Wow! A gust of wind rang out from everyone's ears. Immediately afterwards, Yi Feng and the others shrank their pupils and immediately possessed their spirits without any hesitation. The principals laughed when they saw this scene. The examination time is 1 hour. The previous 2 waves of coercion were nothing but appetizers. Now is the real test. However, some of the principals' faces were not so good looking. It hasn't officially started yet, and the Tianzhao of their school has already knelt down. Feng Mangong looked at Yi Feng with some worry. He was afraid that the boy would not be able to hold on. Tianzhao did not expect this wave of coercion to be so terrifying. Some Tianzhao who were originally good-natured and firm-willed also knelt down. Xiao Yan stood on the ground with a pale face. Previously, he actually saw ghosts and ghosts showing their teeth and claws in front of him. And at that moment his knees bent down. It's terrifying, it's terrifying. Even now, Xiao Yan still looks like he has lingering fears. In addition to being terrifying, Xiao Yan was also slightly injured. Fortunately, he knelt down quickly, otherwise it would have been worse. Buzz. Including Zuo Chohan and GTN, these top geniuses possessed their spirits at the same time. Zuo Chohan's martial spirit is the 9th elemental ranking extreme cold silent ice. This is almost the pinnacle of ice-type martial spirits, and it can even freeze spirit power after it is released. In terms of strength, it is not inferior to the purple electric red golden dragon, the 9th beast martial spirit. At the same time, Zhang Duer's martial spirit was also released. When the light flickered, Zhang Duer had a bronze armor on her body. The armor is made of pieces of dragon scales, and the whole fits very well with Zhang Duer. After putting on this armor, Zhang Duer, who originally looked a little cute, was instantly heroic. This is the Zhang family's heritage martial arts, the 8th in the weapon and martial arts list. It is worth mentioning that the Yutian battle armor is the existence with the 3rd defensive power on the entire martial arts list. The spirit possessions of the 3 geniuses are pleasing to the eye. Many people have not seen it before, and they are all praised when they see it. Principal Feng, how is GTN's martial spirit? Chu Yunsheng said with a smile. Feng Mangong glanced at Chu Yunsheng. Are you serious? To compete with my students in martial arts? Bah, scared you to death. Clang. Just then, a loud bell rang. Immediately, only the sound of the tick-tick pointer was heard. A desolate, grand atmosphere permeated the audience. In the face of the pressure that was at least several times stronger than the previous one, Yi Feng directly used the time clock. He must take the first place in this test. Only in this way can you get more resources to exchange soul crystals. The moment when the spirit possessed the body, the pressure that was originally as heavy as a mountain suddenly eased a lot. And when Yi Feng looked up, he found countless pairs of round eyes. Including the blood slaughter town general Wang Tu. Time divine clock. The huge pupils of this jagged town general who had experienced countless lives and deaths without changing his face were full of shock. God, what did I see? Is this the first martial spirit that disappeared the year before? Beside Feng Mangong, Chu Yunsheng's expression has frozen. There was a smile at the corner of his mouth, and his eyes were round. The expressions of Li Ming and other principals were like copy and paste. Feng Mangong laughed so hard that he couldn't close his mouth. He tried his best to put on a calm expression and said, "Everyone, you're embarrassing." As soon as these words came out, all the principals looked at Feng Mangong faintly at the same time. The mere time clock, there is nothing to mention. Feng Man bowed his waist straight, and the expression on his humble face was not at all modest. My little sister. Chu Yunsheng was almost embarrassed to death. This wind is full of bows and is not a son of man. Thinking of his previous pride, Chu Yunsheng blushed. In addition to embarrassment, a huge wave was set off in his heart. The first martial soul time clock was born. Can I see the time clock in my lifetime? I'm so jealous. Various emotions are intertwined in each principal's heart. At this time, Wang Tu's eyes turned green when he saw Yi Feng. As the town general of the Suzaku Legion, he knows too much how terrible the clock of time is. This is the magical spirit that can bring the dead back to life. If this kid joins his army, many people will die in the future. No, I must grab this guy. Wang Tu secretly made up his mind to report to the overseer later. This kid is too talented in college. Thinking of Wang Tu's inner slander, the Suzaku Legion not only has outstanding combat power, but also has its own intelligence system. But he didn't get any news. This is the clock of time, enough to shake the entire human race. GTN, Lin Hao and the others clearly felt that Zuo Chohan's breath was disturbed after Yi Feng's spirit possessed. After seeing the clock of time, this always cold guy was almost unable to maintain his spirit possession. Zuo Chohan, who was standing not far away, was a little confused. The only ones who could be his opponents in this special training camp were GTN and Zhang Duoer. But, when did such a monster appear? It's not scientific. After the spirit possessed, the pressure on everyone was much less. However, as time went by, everyone gradually became more powerless. The people who had been slandered by the appearance of the time clock had to resist with all their hearts. Before I knew it, 40 minutes passed. Even if the spirit is possessed, there are still a lot of people who can't hold it. Looking at the entire stadium, there were only about 20 people standing. These people are undoubtedly the elite of the elite, the genius of the genius. Wang Tu looked around the audience, insisting that almost everyone can't hold it anymore. The next 20 minutes were all about willpower. Stronger than Zuoqiu Hanjishan and the others, their faces were pale and their legs trembled. The shadow of the martial soul behind him is even more illusory. When Wang Tu looked at Yi Feng, he was obviously stunned. Principal Feng, what's your student's name? Wang Tu couldn't help it. Even Zuo Chohan and the others were struggling to resist, but Yi Feng, that kid is like nothing. Can you believe this? At this moment, Wang Tu even wondered if there was something wrong with his coercion. Even subconsciously checked. General Wang Zhen, his name is Yi Feng. Feng Mangong said. Immediately, he seemed to remember something and said, this child is highly valued by Principal Wang and the others. This sentence is to tell Wang Tu that although we are all under Suzaku's command, don't be fooled, you old boy. Wang Tu was too lazy to pay attention to Feng Mangong. He is in charge of this special training camp. Since they are all under the command of a leader, it is not too much for him to rob Yi Feng. Anyway, the special training camp lasts for 15 days. During these 15 days, he had time to win over Yi Feng. After observing for a while, Wang Tu said, Yi Feng is a twin martial spirit. As soon as these words came out, Li Ming, Chu Yunsheng and other principals turned to look at Feng Mangong at the same time. Wang Zhen will have good eyesight. Feng Mangong smiled. There is also a very ordinary martial spirit, not worth mentioning. Wang Tu and the others nodded when they heard the words. From their point of view, Yi Feng is a terrifying super genius who can awaken the time clock. It is normal for the second martial spirit to be poor. Although there are very few soul masters with twin spirits, they are not absent. For example, Wang Tu is. In general, twin martial spirits are either two middle-level ones. Either a good one or a near miss. As the first martial spirit, the time clock is as good as Yi Feng's second martial spirit may be. No one doubted Versailles wind. With the passage of time, the only 25 people left under Wang Tu's monstrous coercion began to decrease rapidly. At 41 minutes, only 19 people remained. At 42 minutes, only 15 people remained. At the 45th minute, apart from Yi Feng, only Zuo Chohan, GTN and Zhang Duoer were still struggling to support. Compared with before, Yi Feng was only slightly tired. What surprised Yi Feng was that Zhang Duer had endured for so long. From his induction, Zhang Duer is a bronze great perfection. And Jitian and Zuo Chohan are both 1-star silver. Oh, martial soul. After thinking about it, Yi Feng suddenly realized. Zhang Duer's martial spirit is a battle armor known for its defensive power. Although it is slightly weaker than Zuo Chohan and Jitian, it may be better in terms of defense. At this time, anyone with a discerning eye can see that the winner of this assessment must be Yi Feng. Compared with Yi Feng's condition, the other three are not even a little bit worse. After another minute, Jitian and Zhang Duer groaned. The former was soaked through his clothes, and the latter was oozing blood from the corners of his mouth. At the moment when the two fell, Zuo Chohan was also paralyzed. Immediately the whole place was extremely silent. Li Ming's face was not very good. And Feng Mangong held back a smile. Puff! Feng Mangong held back, but no one held back. It was none other than Chu Yunsheng. Seeing Feng Mangong looking at him, Chu Yunsheng said solemnly, "It seems that this year, my students from the imperial capital are even better." As soon as this statement came out, he wanted to hit someone. This old thing is so shameless. I just said that I had to get rid of the second middle school, which made it clear that I was forcibly giving money to myself. However, in this case, the wind is full of bows and it is not easy to attack. Feng Mangong. Well, Yi Feng's performance in my second middle school is acceptable. Yeah, Yi Feng of Dijing has yet to improve. Chu Yunsheng followed suit. Feng Mangong suddenly turned his head and stared at Chu Yunsheng. Chu Yunsheng seemed to have not seen it. Li Ming and the others rolled their eyes madly and were too lazy to pay attention to these two old guys. 4 minutes later, the monstrous pressure disappeared instantly. Yi Feng's body lightened, and he was a little unfulfilled. Seeing this scene, Wang Tu strengthened his thoughts. Wang Tu said, "The assessment is over, I don't need to tell the results, right?" Everyone looked at Yi Feng at the same time. Even Zuo Chohan was no exception. If someone said before that it wasn't Zuo Chohan and the others who were extremely famous, someone would definitely spit at him. But now, the strongest dark horse has appeared. No, the word dark horse is inappropriate. Compared with the most powerful martial spirit, Time God Clock, other talents are dark horses. It should be said that the real king appeared. This guy. Zuo Chohan was decadent for a moment and his eyes were full of fighting spirit. He admits that Yi Feng's martial arts is very powerful, but the powerful martial soul does not mean that he is powerful. At this moment, Zuo Chohan really wanted to discuss with Yi Feng. There are not a few who think the same as Zuo Chohan. Of course, this does not include Jitian and Zhang Duer. Lin Hao, who was originally the first person in number 2 middle school, was still a little fanatical and adoring. He is a martial idiot, a very pure martial idiot. So Zhou Yu's idea was rejected by him before. Wu Kai naturally worships geniuses and worships the strong. Yi Feng is both a genius and a strong man. Yi Feng glanced at the other students and took note of those who were not convinced. These may be the machines for him to earn resources in the future. Very good. Next, I will talk about the benefits of each ranking. Wang Tu said. As soon as the words fell, Yi Feng was suddenly refreshed, and this was what he was waiting for. This determines how much he can improve in this half-month. After the special training camp as the college entrance examination, Yi Feng does not need to participate in the college entrance examination. After the college entrance examination, it was a 1.5-month summer vacation, during which time he might not be able to get a lot of resources. It is impossible to go to the wild often, so this special training camp is the best time for Yi Feng to improve his strength before the start of the university. Wang Tu first looked at Yi Feng. First, no matter where you are, you have the privilege. Yi Feng can receive 20 low-quality soul crystals every day. Yi Feng's eyes lit up as soon as these words came out. A low-grade soul crystal is equivalent to 10 martial soul points. In other words, he can get 200 martial arts points in one day in the special training camp. After 15 days, that's 300 low-grade soul crystals, which is equivalent to 3,000 martial soul points. And 300 low-grade soul crystals are equivalent to 300,000 yuan. I have to say that the benefits of the special training camp are really good. And that's just the beginning. Wang Tu said again. the gravity room and martial soul room can be tried for free. As soon as these words came out, many people were slightly moved and envied. Many people lacked low-grade soul crystals, but the gravity room and the martial soul room were good things. Especially the martial arts room, which can improve the fit between the soul master and the martial arts. The higher the degree of fit, the more powerful the soul skill will naturally be. In addition to top universities and major forces, there is almost no way for others in the spirit room. In addition, Yi Feng can also receive one true soul potion every day. Wang Tu continued to pierce the hearts of everyone. This is the welfare of the first place. Yi Feng was already happy. That's not counting some of the perks of being captain. If all of them are added, Yi Feng estimates that there may be 5,000 martial arts points that he can get in this special training camp. And so much is enough to promote himself to the bronze great perfection. It's cool to think about. From the second place, Wang Tu was too lazy to speak. Instead, it was said by Qi Chen, the dean of the Department of Botany of Modu University. Except for Yi Feng in the first place, the benefits from the second place to the 10th place are the same. 11 to 50 is the same. 51 to 150 is the same. And after 151 it's the same. It is equivalent to dividing into 5 levels, and the gap between each level is quite large. Of course, Yi Feng's number 1 is not as stable as Mount Tai. Wang Tu said, every 2 days, there will be an assessment. If you can surpass Yi Feng, you can swap places with him. Also, you can challenge Yi Feng directly, provided Yi Feng agrees. The reason why Wang Tu said this was that Yi Feng was not strong enough. He can withstand his own coercion, but may not be able to defeat these geniuses. Especially Zuo Chohan and the others, as members of the 3 major families, their experience is extremely rich. Combat experience is naturally very strong. And Yi Feng obviously doesn't have these. After listening to Wang Tu's words, everyone's eyes lit up. Originally, everyone wanted to compete with Yi Feng, but now this idea has become more active. Even many people looked at Yi Feng with some malicious eyes. Seeing everyone's expressions, Wang Tu nodded secretly. This is what he wants. Okay, get your dormitory keys now, and the training will officially start at 6 a.m. tomorrow. 20 minutes later, Yi Feng got his own number 1 key. Just found his dormitory, but there are a few uninvited guests standing at the door. Yi Feng raised his brows. I'm Zhao Kui from Linzhou number 1 middle school. Zhao Kui stepped forward and said, Yi Feng, I want to challenge you. After Zhao Kui finished speaking, the other 2 boys beside him also said at the same time, so do we. Zhao Kui's strength is not weak, and he has the level of bronze great perfection and Zhang Duer. Although the assessment after 2 days can replace Yi Feng if he surpasses Yi Feng. But the competition in the assessment was too fierce, and Zhao Kui felt that he might not have a chance. But now it's different. As long as he defeats Yi Feng, he can become number 1. Even if it is temporary, it will attract the attention of powerful people like Wang Tu. Wang Tu's reputation is not small. If he likes a person to give it all, no matter who it is, it will benefit a lot. I have to say that there is not a fool who can come here. Zhao Kui's abacus Yi Feng also knows. Not only know but welcome. I can challenge me, but I have a condition. Yi Feng looked at the 3 and said, if I win, you have to give me soul crystals. This is a great opportunity for him to earn martial soul points. This request shocked the 3 of them. Immediately Zhao Kui nodded, no problem. As long as Yi Feng agrees, he doesn't think he will lose to Yi Feng in terms of strength. Listen to me first, if you lose, give me 10 low-grade soul crystals. Zhao Kui frowned when he said this. 10 is not too much nor too little, this guy's request is very strange. Zhao Kui said, yes. Yi Feng smiled. If that's the case, don't waste time, the 3 of you can go together. After Yi Feng finished speaking, Zhao Kui's faces changed slightly. Immediately, a boy beside Zhao Kui said angrily, Yi Feng, I admit that your talent is the best among us, but you are too arrogant. Although the other 2 were not as good as Zhao Kui, they were also 8-star bronze soul masters. This strength is considered to be at the upper middle level in this special training camp. The arrogance doesn't end well. Another said. Zhao Kui was angry at first, and then took a deep look at Yi Feng. If we win, who is the first? If you win, the three of you will fight by yourself. Whoever wins will win. Yi Feng shrugged. It's too slow to fight one by one, and what if Zhao Kui loses and others don't want to? The wool must be smashed together. Seeing that the three of them didn't speak, Yi Feng said, if that's the case, then forget it. According to Wang Tu's meaning, this challenge is based on Yi Feng's agreement. Yi Feng disagreed. Obviously reluctance doesn't count. The three of Zhao Kui looked at each other. Immediately, Zhao Kui said, okay, since you are looking for a fight, we are welcome. Although it was a bit disgusting that 3 bronze peaks had 1 bronze star, but since Yi Feng asked them, they were happy to agree. Buzz. Immediately, the 3 of Zhao Kui possessed their martial spirits at the same time. Yi Feng glanced at the corner of his mouth and raised slightly, and the Food Abuse Bureau came. Zhao Kui's martial spirit is the Fire Spirit Tree, a plant martial spirit capable of both attack and control. The other 2 Yi Feng were too lazy to watch. At the moment when the god of light Zhang Wuhun appeared, Zhao Kui and the 3 all looked condensed. Although they felt that winning must be their own side, but the prestige of the first martial spirit was there, and the 3 of them became cautious for no reason. Let's start, Yi Feng said. Before he finished speaking, the 3 of Zhao Kui attacked from 3 directions at the same time. Stab. The yellow spirit ring lit up under Zhao Kui's feet, and a branch with the thickness of his thigh wrapped around Yi Feng like a python. And the other 2 people's soul skills were released at the same time. Time freezes. Yi Feng thought about it. Time within a radius of 10 meters quickly solidified. The imposing branch was almost motionless for an instant. At the same time, the movements of Zhao Kui and the others became extremely slow at this moment. Less than 3 people completely solidified in 1 second. At this moment, the 3 were shocked. Yi Feng unhurriedly retracted the time clock. Facing the 3 of Zhao Kui, time freezes for a full 15 seconds. At this time, I have the time to light a cigarette. The 3 people whose thoughts were frozen stared at each other with big and small eyes, which was quite dramatic. When Yi Feng took out the sword of nothingness, he slashed the 3 people's necks. The force was very light and the 3 of them had not yet been touched. However, a bloodline still appeared on the necks of the 3 of them. This is a small injury, but it means that the heads of the 3 people have moved. When the time freeze was lifted, the 3 Zhao Kui looked at each other in dismay, seeing a trace of horror in each other's eyes. Before Zhao Kui didn't even realize when he was motionless. Yi Feng's soul skill is completely instant. This control effect is too strong. The other person was terrified. If Yi Feng was going to do something to them just now, the 3 might have already lost. Lu Tong, your neck. At this time, Zhao Kui suddenly said loudly. As soon as he finished speaking, he felt something was wrong and touched his neck with his right hand. After seeing a trace of blood, Zhao Kui raised his head and looked at Yi Feng with a trembling body. The expressions of the 3 of them are like copies, shocked and frightened. He was wiped on his neck without him noticing. And Yi Feng obviously kept his hands. Gudong. Zhao Kui's throat rolled and fine beads of sweat oozed out from his forehead. He was crushed. Facing Yi Feng, there is no ability to resist. I don't even know when Yi Feng shot. Shocked, but also extremely happy in my heart. Fortunately, Yi Feng was a classmate, not an enemy. Otherwise he would have died just now. Thinking of this, Zhao Kui felt extremely complicated. You lose. Yi Feng turned the key with a calm expression. Zhao Kui sighed, and honestly took out 10 low-grade soul crystals. After receiving 30 low-quality soul crystals, Yi Feng smiled and said, if you want to challenge me next time, just prepare the soul crystals, you are welcome at any time. Said to open the door of the dormitory. The 3 Zhao Kui behind them looked at each other. Still looking for you. I am afraid that the old birthday star is tired of hanging himself. Soul crystals are second, but if you anger this great god, you really don't know how to die. After Yi Feng closed the door, Lu Tong said bitterly, after this time, we're probably going to be a joke. 3 bronze peaks were crushed by 1 bronze star. Isn't this a joke? If it spreads to the city where they are located, it is even more difficult to raise their heads, and it is estimated that they will be reviled by many people. Zhao Kui was shocked. Immediately said, heaven knows that you know I know, just don't say it. Lu Tong's eyes lit up. Don't tell me, let others taste the taste of being crushed. If everyone was defeated by Yi Feng, they would lose if they lost. Thinking of these three people is in a good mood. As for Yi Fang's side, Zhao Kui didn't think Yi Feng would say it. After all, in the eyes of the boss, the three of them are insignificant and worth mentioning. In Dormitory 1, Yi Feng was shocked by the luxurious dormitory. Although it looks luxurious from the outside, the interior is perfect. In addition to living areas such as bedrooms and living rooms, there is also a small gravity room here. In addition, Yi Feng found that the soul power here should not be too strong, it was 5 times that of the outside world. 1 day of cultivation here is equivalent to 5 days outside. Big deal. This kind of spirit power formation is very rare, and only a top institution like Taizheng University possesses it. And it's not 5x either. Really cool. Yi Feng was in a very good mood lying on the soft and comfortable sofa. After converting 30 low-level soul crystals into 300 martial arts points, Yi Feng's martial arts points have reached as many as 920. System, add some points. The thought of receiving a reward tomorrow, Yi Feng no longer felt distressed. After some operations, Yi Feng spent 600 spirit points to raise his strength to 4-star bronze. The reason for improving the strength is mainly to prepare for the next special training. Many of the subsequent training subjects are based on teamwork. The stronger the strength, the more powerful the spirit ring can be. Yi Feng sensed it after being upgraded to 4-star bronze. Time freezes and nothing else has changed, but the number of controls has changed from 3 to 4. As for the space blade, it seems to have become sharper in Yi Feng's perception. The space blade, Yi Feng has not tried it so far, so the specific power is very exciting. Just as he was about to go out for dinner, the doorbell rang. Yi Feng's eyes lit up, and the gift of martial arts is here. Jing Duer. After opening the door, she saw Zhang Duer. Yi Feng's heart was half cold. Zhang Duer knew her strength, so she definitely didn't come here to challenge herself. Yi Feng, why don't you invite me in to sit down? Zhang Duer blinked her bright big eyes. Come in. Yi Feng rolled his eyes and said, wow, you are so big. Zhang Duer felt a little unbalanced everywhere. Yi Feng suddenly looked at Zhang Duer vigilantly. Does this woman have a see-through eye? How else would he know how big I am here? Zhang Duer never thought that a certain color embryo was so rich in inner drama. After sensing it, he said, Yi Feng, I can't help but want to challenge you. Yi Feng said with a smile, welcome. Saying that, he took out 2 bottles of drinks from the refrigerator next to him. The refrigerator is already full of all kinds of strong drinks, some of which have never been heard of. Tell me what the big beauty wants to do with me. Yi Feng was lying on the sofa and drinking a drink comfortably. Zhang Duer looked at Yi Feng with beautiful eyes. Seeing Yi Feng looking at him, he quickly retracted his gaze. Well, I want to ask you a favor. What's up? You. Zhang Duer's beautiful oval face suddenly flushed. Seeing this, Yi Feng was even more confused. After pondering for a while, Zhang Duer raised her head and looked at Yi Feng with big watery eyes. Can you be my husband? Puff. Yi Feng took a sip of the drink and sprayed Zhang Duer's shirt. He thought about several kinds, but he didn't expect it to be this one. Zhang Duer was wearing a white shirt, and the picture became a little more beautiful when it got wet. Yi Feng even saw the kawaii cat on his chest. Zhang Duer hurriedly covered her face with her hands and turned even redder. Cough, why? Yi Feng asked curiously. He didn't think Zhang Duer was really convinced by his talent. Of course, this possibility cannot be ruled out. Zhang Duer wiped the water stains on her chest with a tissue and gave Yi Feng a resentful look. Immediately said, you should know that our Zhang family's base camp is in the magic capital. Yi Feng nodded. Among the 3 great families, the Ji family is in the imperial capital, and the Zuaoqiu and Zhang families are both in the magic capital. But I went to Dijing instead. Zhang Duer said, do you know why? Yi Feng looked down and looked somewhere. Don't tell me what a bloody escape from marriage. Zhang Duer was stared at by Yi Feng with a hot face. But now it's asking for help, so it's not easy to get angry. He had to pretend he didn't know anything and turned around and said, almost, my dad ordered me a baby kiss when I was a kid. The other party is the son of the chairman of Soul Crystal Mining Group. Yi Feng raised his brows. These 2 sentences contained a lot of information. He knew that Soul Crystal Mining Group was a giant company. It is mainly responsible for mining soul crystals. In my previous life, when I said that there was a mine in my home, I was referring to this kind of person. And Wu Zhonglin, chairman of Soul Crystal Mining Group, is also a great master. Yi Feng roughly understood what Zhang Duoer meant and couldn't help but spit out. What age is this, and it's still a baby, do you want to be so funny? You don't understand, our 3 big families are like this. Zhang Duoer gave Yi Feng a blank look, and she immediately became amorous. I don't agree since I can remember. When I grow up, I'm even more annoyed when I see that Wu Song. But my dad is out of phase, and our Zhang family also cooperates with Soul Crystal Mining Group. In addition, that Wu Song, although annoying, is indeed a genius. So, you understand. Yi Feng nodded. What does this have to do with you asking me to be your husband? I told my dad that I only look for what I like. My dad doesn't agree. When I got angry, I said that even if I didn't like it, I would find someone better than Wu Song. After saying this, Yi Feng understood. After thinking about it, he asked, I'm sorry, I refuse. Zhang Duoer suddenly became anxious. Don't. She was really anxious. Zhang Duoer's father Zhang Wuji only gave her 3 years. 2 years have passed now. Originally, Zhang Duoer didn't have any hope. After all, Wu Song's talent was not under GTN and the others. So I came to Dijing, planning to be out of sight and out of mind. But Yi Feng appeared with shocking 2 peerless martial spirits. Isn't this the man you're looking for? Yi Feng smiled. First of all, I'm not a trade partner. Secondly, I am not a pawn of your family. In fact, these are not important, the key is that you have to benefit. This silly girl, are you begging me to do things without saying the benefits first? After hearing Yi Feng's words, Zhang Duoer was stunned. Immediately apologetic. I'm sorry, that's not what I meant. Not a transaction partner, no. Zhang Duoer was even more anxious. She didn't want her relationship with Yi Feng to deteriorate because of this. Yi Feng was too lazy to pay attention to Zhang Duoer. Yi Feng, if you agree, I can agree to use the power of the family to help you attach a spirit ring. Zhang Duoer was about to cry in a hurry. Time or space is your choice. Yi Feng's eyes brightened as soon as these words came out. If that's the case, I'll reluctantly agree. What? Zhang Duoer was stunned. Didn't you disagree just now? He looked at Yi Feng with big eyes, and did not agree with the swearing look before. Is this going too fast? Yi Feng was a little unhappy. This is really a tiger girl. Even if you have doubts, you shouldn't ask. Where does this make me look old? However, Yi Feng's thick skin quickly returned to normal. Cough, it is also appropriate for classmates to help each other. Yi Feng lied without blushing. Zhang Duoer was immediately moved. I feel even more guilty at the same time, just look at the realization of others. Yi Feng, thank you. Zhang Duoer got up and bowed deeply to Yi Feng. As if something fell, the white shirt sank. This time, Yi Feng was stunned. Gudong. Yi Feng's neck made an abnormal noise like drinking water. The picture is so moving. Yi Feng stared intently. Zhang Duoer didn't notice these details. After getting up, he said gratefully, Yi Feng, I can give you any other reward except the soul ring if you need it. Yi Feng withdrew his gaze and said, don't be too hasty. What? Zhang Duoer was stunned for a moment, obviously not understanding Yi Feng's pun. Cough cough, I mean I don't need anything anymore. Yi Feng said, I'll talk about it when I think about it. Zhang Duoer nodded as happy as a rattle. This silly girl. Yi Feng shook his head secretly and couldn't help but feel a little curious, are the women of the aristocratic family so stupid and sweet? It is strange that this IQ continues to be passed on. Yi Feng, shall I invite you to dinner? Zhang Duoer was in such a good mood that she thought she had made a lot of money. Yi Feng laughed, this wave is not a loss. On the road, the two walked side by side, and the handsome men and women were very eye-catching. During the meal, Zhang Duoer and Yi Feng talked a lot about the family. There are gossip and secrets. He also expressed his concern and gratitude to Yi Feng. From Zhang Duoer's point of view, she asked Yi Feng to help, but Yi Feng was actually a little risky. After all, he is the noble son of the super group, and it is impossible not to eat Yi Feng's vinegar. Although Wu Song didn't dare to take revenge on Zhang Duoer, he might not dare to do bad things to Yi Fang. And there is the great master Wu Zhonglin behind him. Who knows his thoughts? Yi Fang was not worried about this. Wu Zhonglin Gui is a great master and controls the Soul Crystal Mining Group. Such a character must be very smart. There are also a lot of handicapped places. It would be stupid to think secretly because of yourself. As for Wu Sisong, Yi Fang didn't take it to heart at all. The one who can beat him among his peers has not yet been born. On the other side, Wang Tu was in the room. Lord Overseer, that's what happened. Wang Tu told his immediate superior, the blood supervisor Hong Zhen, of the situation during the day. On the other end of the phone, Hong Zhen said in a stern voice, "It's just a small matter, I'll just tell Wang Quan." Hong Zhen felt that Wang Quan would definitely give him this face when he came forward to ask for someone. When the battle situation on your side is over, you can go back to the imperial capital and invite the old boy Wang Quan to have a meal. Wang Tu was relieved. The boss was absolutely reliable. Yi Fang was like a pearl in the university. Such a genius should be tempered by blood and fire in the army. As long as the strength rises, it can become an existence that makes the soul beast feel fearful. Hong Zhen attaches great importance to this matter. Directly dialed Wang Quan's phone. "Wang Quan, I asked you for a student." Hong Zhen said. Wang Quan said lazily, "It's just a student, do you still need to make a phone call based on the friendship between you and me? Just let the people below do it. How's the battle on your side?" Hong Zhen smiled. This old man was as loyal as ever. Thinking of the scene where Wang Quan was scolded last time, I still feel a little guilty. Hong Zhen first glanced at the vast land in the distance. The place where he is located is not the Earth, but the Shira world. And the battles that can really decide the fate of the human race are also here. Looking at the floating corpses and blood flowing into the river gives a very depressed feeling. In the sky, 2 suns and 2 moons hang high at the same time, which is very strange. Hong Zhendao. But it can be 1 in 2 days at most. Then he said again, "If that's the case, then I'll let Wang Tu do it directly, and I'll invite you to drink after the battle." Said to hang up the phone. And many more. Wang Quan's voice suddenly rose. He knew that Wang Tu was the person in charge of this year's special training camp. And the people Wang Tu wanted must have attended the special training camp. The only person in the special training camp who has been recruited so far is Yi Fang. Hong Zhen was stunned for a moment. "What's wrong?" Wang Quan's voice changed. "Which student do you want?" "Oh, my name is Yi Fang, the boy in the special training camp Wang Tu is today." Hong Zhen was a soldier and didn't bother to hide it. Mainly in his opinion, it is absolutely possible to do it with his friendship with the king. No, who knew that the kingship would decisively veto it? What? Hong Zhen's voice also rose. His voice was already loud, and this time the entire command room shook like thunder. "Everyone else can do it, Yi Fang can't," Wang Quan said lightly. At the same time, he cursed in his heart. Fortunately, Laozi responded, otherwise his heart would be robbed. Although Yi Fang had not met Wang Quan yet, Wang Quan had observed Yi Fang several times when he was in the imperial capital. That is, the more I look at it, the more I like it, and the more I look at it, the more I don't want to give it to others. In Wang Quan's heart, you can rob my son, but you can't rob Yi Fang, this is my ban. "Pharaoh, are you kidding me?" Hong Zhen said a little displeased. "It's just a student. Besides, I will invite you to drink when I look back." "Drink it yourself, if you don't give it, you won't give it," said and hung up the phone. Hong Zhen is confused. How dare this old man hang up my phone? After a while, there was a hint of shame on Hong Zhen's rough face. If it weren't for the fact that the kid was a genius, he wouldn't be too lazy to ask for royal power. Hong Zhen still did not intend to give up. After all, the time clock is too powerful, and it is very useful on the battlefield. After hesitating for a while, Hong Zhen made a painful decision. Forget it, he couldn't let Yi Fang get over his child. After dialing Wang Quan's phone, Hong Zhen went straight to the point. Lao Hong, don't play tricks with you. You give me Yi Fang, and I give you the blood dragon crystal. Before this blood dragon crystal, the royal power had not been entangled with Hong Zhen, and Hong Zhen had been reluctant to give it. Even being annoyed, he even scolded Lao Wang, and the scolding was a hearty one. Just when Hong Zhen thought that Wang Quan would readily agree. Don't think about it. You, old Wang, that's the blood dragon crystal. Hong Zhen gave both kindness and power. Didn't you always want it? Let's both have a good time today. Roll. He rudely hung up the phone. Hong Zhen was so angry that he almost pinched the phone. How dare old Wang scold me? Hong Zhen's eyes were round and round. Although this old boy was shameless on weekdays, as the president of Taizheng University, he was always gentle. Even scolding is cursing, and cursing, how can it be so rude today? While angry, Hong Zhen was also a little aggrieved. After decades of friendship, it's rare to ask you to do something, and your kid refuses to be so straightforward. Humph, if you don't want the blood dragon crystal, Lousy won't give it. The blood dragon crystal is rare in the world, and it has a great effect on their level. He also has only one Hong Zhen, and he is preparing to use it for breakthrough. After thinking about it, Hong Zhen gave up. Although Yi Feng is good, he is willing to send the blood dragon crystal, but he really can't hold the face to beg the old boy. The next day, at 6 a.m., seeing the 298 people standing in front of him, Wang Tu snorted coldly. The two who didn't arrive were fired immediately. As soon as this statement came out, many people's expressions changed. Obviously did not expect Wang Tu to be so decisive. Today's first lesson, the use of soul power. Wang Tu continued. In high school, the teacher should have talked to you about the relationship between soul power and soul skills. Today I want to talk about how to use soul power more subtly. Everyone's eyes lit up, especially Zuo Chohan, and the others are looking forward to it. As a town general hovering on the line of life and death, Wang Tu faced life and death struggle and siege. At this time, how to save soul power and how to make better use of soul power becomes very important. One of your soul skills consumes more soul power than others, and it will naturally be worse in protracted battles. And Wang Tu is definitely an expert in this area. In countless life and death crises, he knew the importance of saving soul power. Everyone sat on the ground, while Wang Tu talked freely. Although the soul power consumed by each soul skill is different, it is not fixed. Wang Tu said and turned on the big screen in front of him. On it is a perspective view of the human body, with red dots marked at various locations. Look at these places. The flow of soul power in the body will pass through various acupuncture points. In fact, every time we release our soul power, a considerable part is wasted. These wasted spirit powers have no effect on the power of spirit abilities, but they can be called deadly. Wang Tu was very well prepared for this theoretical class. The current situation is not optimistic, and some powerful beings among the soul beasts have recovered one after another. The original training mode of the human race needs to be changed. Everything must be prepared for battle. In the past, there were still many people who were relatively comfortable, and geniuses could grow slowly, but not now. Wang Tu, on the other hand, told everyone his understanding and experience without reservation. Yi Feng listened intently. His time freezing consumes soul power. And if the soul power is depleted, not only will the combat power drop severely, but even life will be in danger. Wang Tu's class seemed to open a window, allowing Yi Feng to see more possibilities. Controlling the consumption of soul power through the trajectory and fluctuation of soul power release is the easiest and most effective method in my opinion. The big screen flashed. This is the secret method of controlling the soul that I created, and it has been passed on to your mobile phones. Wang Tu said. Everyone first understand the secret method, and later ask me if you don't understand. Everyone couldn't wait to turn on their phones. In this world, in addition to soul skills, some outstanding people can also create secret methods with their own understanding. The secret technique is not a soul skill, and it cannot directly affect the battle. But it can improve their combat power. And as far as Yi Feng knows, even the most common secret method costs millions. As a top master, Wang Tu's secret methods are invaluable. Cough cough. Seeing everyone's excited expressions, Wang Tu coughed and suddenly said solemnly, "Classmates, this secret method can only be seen by you, and cannot be shared. Not even your most trusted friends or even family members." Seeing Wang Tu's expression, everyone nodded. After half an hour, everyone began to ask questions, and Wang Tu also answered them one by one patiently. Although he was not a teacher, Wang Tu did his due diligence without the slightest impatience. He knew that the students in front of him were the future of the human race. As a soldier, his duty is to protect the human race. Although Wang Tu looked careless and rude on the surface, he always kept his mission in mind in his heart. The first class didn't end until 12 noon. When the get out of class was announced, everyone was a little confused. Yi Feng asked 2 more questions before leaving with Xiao Yan and others. According to the timetable, after 12 o'clock is the meal break, and classes continue at 1 o'clock. Before reaching the cafeteria, Zuo Chohan suddenly trotted over. Under the snow-white bangs, a pair of blue eyes lit up with fighting spirit. Yi Feng, let's fight. As soon as this statement came out, the students around him looked at it at the same time. Immediately everyone was excited. In the office, Wang Tu's ears moved slightly. Immediately he opened his mouth and laughed. He knew that people like Zuo Chohan couldn't hold back, and he really had to challenge today. To be honest, he was also curious about Yi Feng's combat power. Immediately, Wang Tu leaned on the sofa and started watching the play happily. Just here, Yi Feng looked at Zuoqiu Handao. Zuo Chohan nodded. Yi Feng saw more and more people watching, the corners of his mouth rose slightly. You can play, but you have to bet. Yi Feng looked at Zuo Chohan with a smile. The first half of the sentence shocked the students, including Zhang Duoer, but immediately. Bet. Everyone was stunned. What is this request? In the crowd, Zhao Kui shrank his neck subconsciously, is here again. Zuo Chohan's blue eyes were rarely suspicious. He couldn't understand why the challenge was still betting. What is the meaning? Not only Zuo Chohan but also GTN and the others. Yi Feng explained. That means you have to give me soul crystals if I win, and you will also have to take out soul crystals if others are watching. Zuo Chohan asked subconsciously, how much will I give you? He doesn't care about soul crystal, as long as Yi Feng agrees, he can do whatever he wants. Yi Feng pondered for a while and said, you lose to 50. 50 is equivalent to 50,000 yuan. Everyone is a high school student and Yi Feng doesn't want to get into too much trouble. It is good. Who knew that Zuo Chohan agreed directly without even thinking about it? Said less. Yi Feng glanced at Zuo Chohan, he forgot that this guy was a son of an aristocratic family. Then looked at GTN and the others, cough, as for your tickets. Well, just look at them. This time Yi Feng has experience, so he didn't say death. Although GTN felt that this request was a bit strange, it was nothing to spend some soul crystals watching the battle between these two people. This is mine. GTN handed over a storage bracelet and said, I didn't bring much this time, only 30 yuan. Yi Feng's outstretched hand trembled and glanced at GTN, I suspect you are pretending but I have no proof. After sensing it, Yi Feng was overjoyed. This storage bracelet actually has 10 cubic meters. Just a bracelet has 200,000, which is really rich. GTN gave it all, and the others were not ambiguous. The 3 of Zhao Kui looked at each other and took out 2 yuan. Yi Feng is mine. Zhang Duoer said, come on. After weighing it, Yi Feng's eyes lit up, looking at Zhang Duoer's eyes with kindness. This tiger girl is very powerful, she even gave 40 yuan. After a while, Yi Feng smiled as he looked at the soul crystal in the storage bracelet. A total of 40 people gave a total of 161 yuan, and the speed of money is not too fast. Plus Zuo Chohan's 50 is 211. This is equivalent to 2,110 martial soul points. It's all experience. In the office, Wang Tu twitched the corner of his mouth. Do young people nowadays play like this? If this is the case, then he basically competes with people every day, isn't it? No, if that's the case, Lord Overseer will open my ass. On the other side, the principals who got the news stood on the roof of the teaching building. Others looked at Feng Mangong with strange expressions. Feng Mangong had thick skin and pretended not to see it, but he was slandering in his heart, but this kid has learned a lot of social things. To be honest, they are also very curious about this discussion. Principal Feng, how is this guy Yi Feng actually fighting, won't he lose in seconds? Chu Yunsheng asked in a voice transmission. He was very concerned about Dijing's face. Feng Mangong glanced at Chu Yunsheng, want to know. Bring the soul crystal. You. Chu Yunsheng's eyes widened. Okay, it turns out that this bad habit was learned from an old guy like you. After receiving the tickets, Yi Feng looked at Zuo Chohan and said, "Let's start then." Immediately, many people were looking forward to it. Especially the No. 1 middle school and No. 2 middle school affiliated to the magic capital, they are even more excited. Although Yi Feng is talented, his strength is much worse than Zuo Chohan. Zuo Chohan nodded. The next moment the temperature around them plummeted. Immediately afterwards, a 2-meter-high ice crystal phantom appeared behind Zuo Chohan. This is his martial spirit, the 9th-ranked elemental martial spirit, extremely cold and quiet destroyer ice. This martial spirit has a very terrifying low temperature, which can freeze the flesh and soul of the opponent. In the face of extreme cold and silence, the speed of the opponent's soul power will be much slower, and even the speed of releasing soul skills will also slow down. On the other hand, if it is a soul master with a near strength, it will be directly frozen into an ice sculpture. 5 years ago, Zuo Chohan's father directly froze everything within a radius of 10,000 meters in a rage, which was very powerful. "It's so cold." Xiao Yan and the others all shivered and subconsciously took a few steps back when Zuoqiu Hanwu's spirit was possessed. Whoosh! A gust of cold wind blew, and Zuo Chohan's white hair was flying even more coldly. The light in GTN's eyes skyrocketed, and at this moment, his fighting spirit was high and he wanted to try Zuo Chohan's level. This made the extremely cold and low temperature of most of the people present to have no effect on Yi Feng. Under the thought of a move, the grand and mighty bell rang. Immediately, the phantom of the golden clock of time appeared. The pointer on it turns. Compared with the bronze 1-star time, the current time clock is more solid. You can even see some shallow lines on the dial. At the moment when the spirit of the time god was possessed, Zuo Chohan's eyes skyrocketed. Yi Feng is a bronze 4-star. Didn't he only have 1 star yesterday? This change also caused GTN and others to shrink their pupils. Upgrade 4 stars overnight. Everyone's brains are short-circuited. How is this done? Zuo Chohan instantly recovered as before, and after hesitating for a while, the second spirit ring floated from under his feet. He planned to try his best to try Yi Feng's fineness. If Yi Feng can't, then I believe that the principals who are observing secretly will come to the rescue. Yi Feng glanced at the bright yellow soul ring and thought, and the 1,000-year-old soul ring of the time mysterious turtle appeared at the same time. Arctic shock. Zuo Chohan let out a low drink, and the dark blue soul power instantly condensed and killed Yi Feng with a suffocating low temperature. This kid Zuo Chohan used his second soul skill as soon as he came up. Li Ming shook his head and said, "I just don't give Yi Feng a way to survive." Feng Mangong and Chu Yunsheng were a little unhappy hearing this, but they couldn't refute it for a while. Shish! The extremely cold shock rushed towards Yi Feng with a heart-pounding dark blue at an unbelievable speed. Although there was still 1 meter away, Yi Feng clearly felt that his nose was turning red from the cold. Interesting. Yi Feng smiled, and then his mind moved. The hands on the clock of time turned rapidly, and the purple spirit ring shone brightly. At the next moment, a scene that shocked everyone appeared. The speed of the extremely cold shock wave that was as fast as a bullet instantly dropped to the extreme. It's like going from normal speed to 50 times slower. And the extreme cold shock only moved forward 2 centimeters and stayed there motionless. In Zuo Chohan's induction, the extreme cold shock seemed to be surrounded by cement. The instant curing of the cement traps the extreme cold shock. Zuo Chohan was extremely shocked. Yi Feng's soul skills are so overbearing. Suddenly Zuoqiu Hengxin felt that his right leg suddenly retreated. But then the power of time rolled in. Although Zuo Chohan's reaction was extremely fast, he was still controlled by the freezing of time. No. But. Zuo Chohan thought of these 4 impossible words, but he only thought of the first 3 words and his thinking was completely frozen. At this time, Zuo Chohan still kept the movement of retreating and stood still. His blue eyes were full of shock and wonder. In front of Zuo Chohan was the dark blue shock wave that was also fixed. One person and one thing are like sculptures. Silence. The cups in Wang Tu's hands fell off, and a pair of tigers were round and round. On the roof of the teaching building, Li Ming has a big mouth. Rao is Chu Yunsheng and they are also surprised. Only Feng Mangong smiled. This kid is really strong. Interesting. Wang Tu did not care about the cup on the ground, and the desire in his eyes reached the extreme. Mada, even if Yi Feng only has this soul skill, he can show his skills on the battlefield. No, after the battle, I have to ask Lord Overseer how things are going. Well, considering Boss Hong's connections, he should have already won it. Suddenly, Wang Tu looked at Yi Feng with something more. That's how you feel about yourself. Gudong. Li Ming rolled his throat and looked at Feng Mangong with a horrified expression. Why can his soul skill affect Zuo Chohan? One is silver and one is bronze. It's basically two worlds. It is impossible for any control skills to ignore such a large gap. Because that is the clock of time. Feng Mangong is in a good mood. Li Ming, this old boy, doesn't have a very arrogant nose every day. I finally got shriveled today. Chu Yunsheng looked at Feng Mangong faintly, envious for no reason. Just when he was about to brazenly praise the Dijing students for their greatness, Yi Feng suddenly retracted the time clock. The powerhouses were not surprised. Yi Feng's soul skill is strong control, and it is obviously impossible to smash the opponent with his fist when he controls the opponent. Wang Tu and others immediately became interested. They wanted to know what Yi Feng's other martial spirit was. Yi Feng stood in front of Zuo Chohan like a leisurely stroll. Most of the students around were stunned to see this scene. The super genius Zuo Chohan was controlled without any resistance. What will Yi Feng do next? Buzz. Ripples suddenly appeared in the surrounding space. The next moment, a fierce aura emerged from Yi Feng's body that made everyone look pale. Hiss. Someone's skin pierced by this momentum was sore that they backed away again and again. Yi Feng stretched out his right hand and grabbed the void on the right. Shish. A transparent sword appeared in his hand accurately. At this moment, everyone has a feeling of being on pins and needles. Many people were covered in sweat, feeling as if they were locked by something. Void God Sword. Wang Tu, who had been leisurely, got up with a huge change in his face. His eyes were fixed on the sword, and his breathing became heavy unconsciously. Upstairs in the classroom, lying, trough, Li Ming's eyes almost popped out. This second martial spirit turned out to be the Sword of Nothingness. The most powerful weapon. Is this Yi Feng's second martial soul? Chu Yunsheng and the others were also shocked, and immediately felt their scalp tingle. Feng Mangong also has no beard, or else he has to look like an expert in the world. The wind is full of bows. Li Ming looked at Feng Mangong with mixed feelings, his eyes almost turned into bullets and shot out. He is sour, he is envious, jealous. He was out of balance. He was completely devastated. In the office, Wang Tu shuddered with excitement. What kind of monster is this fool? A clock of time, a sword of nothingness. Does this keep other geniuses alive? This kid must not be put in the university. Wang Tu clenched his fists and breathed heavily. The time clock has a great effect on the battlefield, so is it not the case with the Sword of Nothingness? Back then, the Spirit Master with the Sword of Nothingness transported 100,000 soldiers to the battlefield in a single thought. It was that moment that changed the entire human race situation. The Void God Sword controls the power of space and is the sharpest existence in the world. What Wang Tu was looking at was the unpredictable space, which was a super martial spirit that was enough to decide the outcome of the battle. In addition, Wang Tu is also eager to love talents. Shouldn't such a genius be cultivated in the army? What can district schools cultivate? Just when everyone was immersed in the shock brought by Yi Feng waved his knife. At the same time, the bright yellow spirit ring lights up. Space Blade. Facing Zuo Chohan with silver 1 star, Yi Feng used the Space Blade for the first time. In Yi Feng's perception, the space in front of him quickly wriggled and condensed into a blade with a length of 30 meters. The sharpness emanating from this blade spread throughout the audience. Even Xiao Yan in the outer ring felt clearly. Immediately, Xiao Yan and the others suddenly retreated. Call out. At this time, Zuo Chohan could not resist. Yi Feng's eyes lit up and he saw Qi Chen rushing over. Qi Chen looked extremely surprised and pushed his hand gently. Yi Feng's space blade that could kill Zuo Chohan no less than 10 times disappeared instantly. However, this time, what? Xiao Yan and the others in the distance suddenly shouted. A strand of their hair was shaved. Suddenly the crowd changed. It's so far apart, and the target is only Zuo Chohan, can he also affect them? Zhao Kui looked at Yi Feng with a little panic. It turns out that he also has a soul skill with such a terrifying lethality. Fortunately, I didn't go too far that day, otherwise. Zhao Kui couldn't help shivering. GTN and Tianzhao's eyes were horrified. GTN felt a deep crisis of life and death just now. It was a feeling that had never happened before. Lin Hao opened his mouth wide and looked at Yifeng in awe. Is he so strong? The dignified Zuo Chohan, the super evildoer who can be called the #1 high school student, doesn't even have the strength to resist in front of Yifeng. What makes everyone more desperate is that Zuo Chohan has not recovered yet. This, 24K pure control to death. Upstairs in the classroom, except for Feng Mangong, who was grinning and grinning, everyone else was staring at Yifeng. Suddenly all the principals looked at Feng Mangong at the same time. Feng Mangong was stunned and suddenly vigilant. Yifeng is already from Dijing University, what do you want to do? I want to hit you. After speaking, the dense fists fell on Feng Mangong. Even Chu Yunsheng couldn't help it at this moment. Why is Mad the lucky boy? I can't stand this grievance. What? Oh, you, take it easy. Hey, it can't be there, From the roof, there was a desperate cry of Feng Mangong. But everyone didn't notice, everyone's attention was on Yifeng at this moment. When Zuo Chohan recovered, the first thing he saw was the sword of nothingness in Yifeng's hands. Immediately, the bright eyes dimmed immediately. Then, there was a wry smile. He lost. The loser is taken by mouth. GTN knew Zuo Chohan's mood too well. Looking at Yifeng, there was a little helplessness in his eyes. Being born in the same era as Yifeng is truly a tragedy in the world. Yifeng stood with a knife and looked calm. At this moment, Xiao Yan and the others were all in a trance. This is a man destined to be invincible. As long as he is given time, he can grow into a pillar of the human race. That's right, at this time everyone thought that it was only a matter of time before Yifeng became the existence of the three pillars. After all, the talent of the three pillars is far inferior to Yifeng's. Yifeng. You shouldn't be called Yishen. Yishen, you are so strong. This is a good name, Yishen is mighty. Before I only served Brother Tian, now I believe in Yishen. The crowd said with admiration. In this world, fists are big, and geniuses and strong people are respected wherever they go. And Yifeng, on the first day of the special training camp, received everyone's respect. Is there anyone else going to challenge me? Yifeng put away the sword of nothingness and looked around the audience. Accept the challenge at any time, but remember to buy a ticket if you want to watch it. A crowd. Zuo Chohan is indeed a super genius and his mentality quickly recovered. He took a deep breath and said in a deep voice, Yifeng, starting today I will target you, and I will definitely surpass you. Me too, GTN said. And me, Lin Hao also said. Return. Just as Zhang Duoer was about to speak, she suddenly remembered that she had to ask Yifeng for help. She stuck out her tongue and shut up. Xiao Yan also said something shang, but found that he didn't seem worthy. This scene made Qi Chen secretly pleased. In the office, Wang Tu has never been so excited as he is today. After the battle, Wang Tu immediately called Hong Zhen. Hong Zhen answered quickly. Boss Hong, Yifeng has settled this matter. I'll go through the formalities right away. No, Hong Zhen said angrily. Lao Wang is not a son of a human being, and Laozi is no longer aggrieved. What? Wang Tu was confused. Old boss, what's going on? Hong Zhen immediately recounted the previous situation. Immediately he hummed. Even took out the blood dragon crystal, that kid is still unmoved. No, I have to scold me back later. Wang Tu rolled his eyes. Boss Hong, Yifeng must grab it. It's better to put it anywhere than here. Oh, forget it. Hong Zhen said, I know Lao Wang's temperament. It's useless to say anything he doesn't agree with. Boss Hong, don't give up. Wang Tu stood up in a hurry. You know, that guy Yifeng had a fight with Zuo Chohan just now, and he still has a spirit of the god of nothingness. What? There was a thunderous explosion on the phone. Wang Tu's rough skin and thick flesh didn't feel anything. It's the nihilistic sword with the first weapon and soul. Mada is too strong. This kid is a soldier by nature. In the Shira world, Hong Zhen's eyes turned green. Void God sword. Time clock. No wonder Pharaoh didn't give it. I won't give it to me for his fool. Wang Tu asked, Boss Hong, what should I do? I'm going to beg him to pester him now. After Hong Zhen finished speaking, He hung up the phone in a hurry. I felt aggrieved before, and I felt that I couldn't hold this face down by begging the king in a low voice. Now, today, Lao Hong, I don't think of myself as a human being. Ba face count as an egg. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.